Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis for tonight's coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks against the Delaware Thunder. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Date Night here at Danbury Arena. We thank you very much for joining us here on this Valentine's Day, and we hope that you are cuddled up with a loved one and ready for some intense Eastern Division action here tonight in the FPHL as the Danbury Hat Tricks are going up against a team that is constantly locked in back and forth action with them. Hat Tricks have taken 5 of the 6 meetings, but Jack, each one of them has come with their own unique brand of intensity and grit.
You look at a team like Delaware sitting last in the Eastern Division right now, you would expect washes of games. That's far from the case. When these two teams face off against one another, you see a different brand of hockey. They're physical, they're aggressive, and they really have gotten into Danbury's heads. None of those 5 wins have been easy at all by any means, guys, this season. It's been a really, really difficult test, and we'll see if Delaware, a little pep in their step tonight possibly with the Valentine's Day holiday, maybe take something away from Danbury to take a game in this atmosphere. It would be crucial for them.
Well, you never know. They might have someone in the stands that they're trying to impress. And Zach, going in between the pipes tonight for the Danbury Hat Tricks has been Dylan Kelly, who has been nothing short of spectacular since his return from the SPHL. What do you expect from the big man in net tonight?
I expect him to want to reestablish himself as the guy, the option here in Danbury. Dylan Kelly gets loaned out to the SPHL, and then Tom McGuckin comes in and essentially orchestrates the longest winning streak in Danbury professional hockey history. Dylan Kelly comes back to that. It's not a question of, whose net is it? No, that's Tom McGuckin's net. So Dylan Kelly, he has to reestablish himself. He's done a great job with that so far. I expect him to continue doing that tonight.
And Jack, especially in the last few games, Dylan Kelly has faced a glut of shots against him, averaging over 35 shots against per game. And the Danbury Hat Tricks defense will certainly want to tighten that up against the Delaware Thunder this weekend.
Absolutely. It's been a challenge for the Hat Tricks defensively. I mean, think about all the faces that aren't playing on the ice right now. Tommy Freeman's still out with a lower body injury. Aaron Atwell, upper body injury. Marty Tuma, lower body injury. I mean, the list goes on and on. Those are really solid defensemen. Sometimes you have Billy McCreary playing in the defensive blue line. You have Vlad Gavrik playing the blue line. You're going to have Easton Oliver slotting back in there as another defender tonight. It's been challenging for Dylan Kelly because he's had different guys he's had to deal with in front of him, and he's fared very, very well throughout this little stretch here with so many injuries. And you're right, Casey. Tightening up is definitely a term that you'll need to see, but you start to get comfortable with the same faces now that these guys, Atwell, Tuma, and Freeman, have been out for such a long time. You start to get comfortable with the guys in front of you.
And you want to tighten up simply because, Casey, you mentioned none of these games have been easy. It seems the majority of the time the average score is 6-4. You don't want to give up 4 goals, especially to the team that's at the bottom of your division. This is a good weekend for Danbury to continue pacing themselves in the standings. They have a lead over Elmira. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to obtain another 6 points this weekend, but it's going to be tough. It's not going to be a gimme.
And the Danbury Hat Tricks certainly are trying to assert themselves as top dog in the FPHL, and these are 2 teams trending in 2 different directions. The Danbury Hat Tricks come in on a 5-game winning streak. The Delaware Thunder come in on a 9-game losing streak, and things have really took a turn for the worse since the loss of their 2 top scorers, Ryan Marker and Brandon Contrado. It's been a really rough road for the Delaware Thunder. What will they have to do tonight to stick it to the Hat Tricks?
I think to take the Hat Tricks out of the game in the first period is crucial. We saw Elmira do that a couple of weekends ago here at Danbury Arena. They scored early, and then they took the Hat Tricks out of the game, and Danbury really didn't get going in that one. This has to be an effort right out of the gate for Delaware in order to be successful. They need to hit hard. They need to take Danbury off of their game, and if they can eliminate scoring in the first period from the team in orange, they're going to have a much better chance at setting the tone of this game.
And you're talking about hitting hard. Who's starting for Delaware but Anthony Paisano. Paisano, beloved here in Danbury. He had 2 stints with the Danbury Whalers, played with the Danbury Titans as well, put up over 300 penalty minutes in that amount of time, playing less than 100 games. You want somebody who's going to hit hard, he'll do it.
We're getting ready for the national anthem. We're going to turn you over to public address announcer Christian Gardecki.
Please rise and move your back to the playing of our national anthem.
Back now for puck drop of Danbury Hat Tricks hockey. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis bringing you live coverage of the Hat Tricks tonight and every night here from the Danbury Arena broadcast booth. Starting lineup first for the visiting Delaware Thunder. On the forward lines, they will have Evan McIntosh centering Taylor Cutting and Eric Masters. On the blue line, they will have Charlie Penns Jr., the captain of the squad, alongside former Danburian Anthony Paisano, making his return to Danbury for the first time since 2016. And in goal for the Delaware Thunder is number 39, Aaron Taylor, who comes in with an 8-22 record, a 4.71 goals against average, and .899 save percentage. Countering him for the Danbury Hat Tricks on the blue line, they will be starting out Steve Brown and Cruz Listmeyer. On the forward line, the dynamic duo of Carter Shinkarik and Shane Morrissey, alongside Matthias Kasich, who is slotting in for an injured Casper Dearson, a scratch tonight. And in goal for the Danbury Hat Tricks, as mentioned before, Dylan Kelly, coming in on a personal 4-game winning streak, a 12-4-0 record this season with a 3.53 goals against average and .906 save percentage. That is your Ameriprise Financial goaltending matchup of the game. Are you saving enough for retirement? Learn more with Derek Packett at Ameriprise Financial. Getting set for the opening draw will be Shinkarik against McIntosh in the dot. Hat Trick skating from left to right on your YouTube screen, donning their alternate orange jerseys, which will be auctioned off after tomorrow's game. You can get your tickets now at danburyhattricks.com/tickets if you want to get a game-worn jersey off the back of your favorite player.
I hope they toss them through the washing machine first, but...
Oh, no, that adds authenticity.
It has plenty of authenticity. I want to take it out with my Valentine's date and not get pushed away.
It's, different strokes, different folks. Some people wear aqua de jour. Other people want to wear hockey sweat.
All right. I hope it comes with Febreze.
After an icing call, a face-off is taken in the attacking zone for the Hat Tricks. Here's Shinkarik cycling it along the boards to Matthias Kasich. Kasich is staple-gunned along the boards by Charlie Penns Jr., the hard-hitting defenseman who chews up a lot of minutes for the silver and black. Kasich still doing battle with Penns. He's brought down to the ice. Puck squirts out to the near side circle, where it'll be picked up and carried out by the big body of Taylor Cutting. Taylor Cutting flips it towards the net. It'll be turned aside by Dylan Kelly, who is sporting a new bucket on his head today. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it yet, but on Dylan Kelly's personal Instagram, he took us through a tour. And boy, does it look fresh.
It is a remarkable mask, and the logos are fantastic. It looks really, really good, and that's a good sign, too. You know, when goaltenders make the commitment to go out and customize their mask, that means they're dedicated to the process. They're dedicated to the team that they play for.
Well, especially since Dylan Kelly has spent time in the SPHL with Peoria, it's nice to see him settle in and call Danbury home, and that's certainly an encouraging sign for fans who want to see DK in an orange and black uniform for the remainder of the season. Here's Levesque picking up the puck on the left wing, has Ruiz with him, feeds Ruiz in the slot. He's brought down from behind. That will be a penalty going against Cristofaro, and the Hat Tricks will get their first power play of the game, courtesy of a trip.
Well, Danbury comes into this game with the second-best power play in the league. And, Jack, in minute 26 into the game, you mentioned the key for Delaware was to take Danbury out of things early. This is the opposite of what they were looking to do.
Yeah, you don't want to put a hot power play, a well-converting power play early in a game on the front foot here. And Danbury still hasn't gotten a shot on goal, but when you have these 5 players on the ice, you're likely to see a couple, especially with the man advantage.
Out there for the Danbury Hat Tricks, Bronner, Ruiz, Kasich, Morrissey, and Shinkarik. 5 forwards out for the Hat Tricks as Shinkarik slides it over to his left. Ruiz takes a step in, fires. That goes off the padding of Taylor. Behind the end line it goes. Out to Ruiz in the corner, shuffles it to Bronner. No look pass, looking for the back door. Morrissey fanned on the shot attempt. It'll be picked up and cleared by the Thunder. Almost some nifty passing there from Phil Bronner.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive. And Bronner actually had an option, too, in Morrissey next to the net.
Now escaping from behind his own net is Morrissey, charging ahead. Has Bronner to his right, Kasich to his left, finds Kasich. Kasich spins away from a defender. Being forced along the boards. Delaware trying to limit the Hat Tricks to the perimeter. It hops off the stick of Gavrik. Gavrik pitches it down low. It'll be taken by Morrissey. Morrissey has Bronner setting up shop in front. Morrissey shot through traffic. That one's covered up by Taylor, and he holds.
I like that shot by Shane Morrissey there. He actually sends it through the legs of Charlie Penns Jr., makes it very difficult for the goaltender, Aaron Taylor, to actually find it coming on in.
And you mentioned, Casey, how much Delaware's forcing Danbury to the outside of the power play. Really good job on the first sequence there, and finally Morrissey gets the shot in.
It'll be cleared out of the defensive zone by Delaware. Dylan Kelly aggressively out of his net to stymie the puck. Giving chase is Mark-Anthony Simonetta. Here's Kendall Bolin-Porter. Charging up the right wing, trying to get around the defender. He does. Clear look to the net. That one's gloved out of the air by Taylor. Oh, what a nice little dipsy-doodle there from Kendall Bolin-Porter.
Alex Basie got dipsy-doodled right into the ice, inside out. And suddenly, Bolin-Porter has plenty of space in front of the goalie. Tries going top shelf. Good save by Aaron Taylor to get a glove on it.
Face-off is won by the Hat-Tricks. Corey Anderson out there taking his first shift back at home after serving a 5-game suspension, returned on Saturday against the Thunder, and had an assist in the contest, which extends now his point streak to 4 games. He's out there with Kendall Bolin-Porter and Colin Edwards on the forward line, Nikola Levesque and Vlad Gavrik on the blue line. Gavrik over to Bolin-Porter, who was forced into a defensive role, played defense last week against the Delaware Thunder, due to some shorthanded play on the Danbury Hat-Trick side, some injuries forcing guys in and out of the lineup. Here's Edwards, has it on his backhand, loses the handle, back to Bolin-Porter, drive just wide. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Into the corner it goes. Anderson feeds Edwards. Now back to Anderson along the boards, crossing the way to Gavrik, takes a step in, his shot patted aside by Taylor, turns around, bats it out of the air. Edwards with the backhand shot that just goes through the blue paint. Oh, how did that not go? Now picked up and carried ahead. Here's Simonetta. 2-on-1 developing. Slides it over to Demon. Demon turning around, looking to the net, blocked in front by Gavrik. Anderson brought down to the ice from behind by the stick of his own man, Kendall Bolin-Porter, and he'll go off for a change. And Anderson still shaking his head after that turnaround shot after the helter-skelter chance in front.
I do want to highlight Colin Edwards getting some power play time. This was a guy who joined the team only 5 games ago. How great is it that he's been able to integrate himself that quickly?
Well, he certainly exploded onto the scene. He had a goal and an assist and a fight. That's a Gordie Howe hat-trick last Saturday against these Delaware Thunder. Now has 4 points in his first 5 games as a member of the Hat-Tricks.
As a professional hockey player.
That's true. Christers Bormanis, the former Danbury hat-trick, out on the ice, is a long shot from Anthony Paisano, gloved out of the air by Dylan Kelly, and a couple of players making their returns to Danbury. Christers Bormanis, of course, started the year with the Hat-Tricks, played opening weekend in front of the home fans, and that was really the only chance that they got to see of Mr. Bormanis, but he did have a couple of goals in that opening series.
He did. He looked at like he had a strong series and then was quickly moved out, and he was the first of a couple transactions that kind of set the current stage of where Danbury stands right now. Obviously, the additions of Carter Shinkarik help. Casper Dearson was also an addition after those first couple of weekends, and you see the direction that the team went after those initial first few moves by Billy McCreary.
Taylor covers up the puck, and he'll hold 4 minutes and 44 seconds gone by in the first period. And Bormanis, this is now his 4th team that he's played on in the FPHL. Started with Danbury, moved to Danville, then to Watertown, and now he's here in Delaware. And really the most marked change I've seen in Bormanis' game. Averaged 3 shots a game, over 3 shots a game as a member of the Hat-Tricks. Only has 1 shot on goal in 3 games played for Delaware.
I think he's trying to simplify his game. You know, in 4 games with the Watertown Wolves, he recorded no points. 3 games so far with Delaware, he hasn't recorded a point. He had 8 points in 14 games with Danville, so it's a trying season for the youngster. You got to simplify things.
Into the corner it goes, trying to escape. It goes off the stick of Masters and out into the neutral zone. Pursuing is Gavrik. He flips it out towards the penalty boxes in the neutral zone. Corey Anderson is run into by a man. That's Bryce Litke. Here's McIntosh over to Cutting. Cutting towards behind the end line. Masters gives chase. He's being hampered from behind by Bolin-Porter. Out to the point. Gliding to his left and shooting one well wide was Bryce Litke. It'll be taken by Edwards. Has some time and space and will slide it across to his defenseman Kenny Garrett.
That's a good shift there for Delaware, Casey. They're moving the puck to the outside, and Cutting was in front there actually on the shot after Litke. He almost got a deflection in. That's the right idea for the Thunder.
Taylor Cutting out there, and we'll keep an eye on him because he's mixed it up a couple of times this season with the Danbury Hat-Tricks, and he is your big boy, 6'1", 220 pounds. Leads the team with 134 penalty minutes to his name.
That's only because Anthony Paisano hasn't played that much yet. 7 games played for Paisano, 37 penalty minutes.
Well, as you mentioned in the pregame show, Zach, 321 penalty minutes in 50 games in his career in Danbury. Anthony Paisano looks at 134 and says, child's play.
He could do that in a weekend.
Behind the end line it goes. It's cut off by Evgeny Demon. And up the left wing it goes. Picking it up and gliding ahead is Thomas Municello, who had a beauty of a goal on Saturday against the Danbury Hat-Tricks. is starting to pick up his scoring touch a bit, as now he tries for the wraparound and hits it off the side of the net. He's being harassed by Cruz Listmeyer. Pass out towards the slot, goes off the defensive stick of Ruiz and out into the neutral zone. Bronner whacks it ahead for Nikola Levesque, just out of his reach. Levesque into the corner, pursued by DeCristofaro. Shinkarik is setting up in the slot, but it'll be taken away by Delaware, and up the ice they come. Long pass intended for a man is instead hit by Easton Oliver. Out there taking his first shift since January the 17th. Playing in lieu of Steve Mealy, who is out with an injury tonight.
Easton Oliver's one of those veteran guys, though. He can take that long of a time off, come back, and it doesn't look like he missed a step.
He's an experienced professional player, 29 years old, from Plano, Texas. Used to play for the Danville Dashers back in 2017. No stranger to the FPHL. Pass out towards the slot, looking for Bormanis. It's on his backhand, now gets it back to the point to Paisano. Pass attempt down low, goes off the legs of Kasich. Gavrik is the first to retrieve. Looking to hit it off the boards and picking it up is Morrissey. He leads Kasich in stride. Skates over towards the Thunder bench and has to shield away from the big body of Paisano bearing down on him.
No thank you.
Picking it up is Bormanis. Evades Bull and Porter. Slides it to his right. Brennan Young has it on his stick. Shot attempt goes off the body of Listmeyer. Into the corner it goes. 2 Thunder, 2 hat tricks in the corner. 7 minutes, 50 seconds gone by here in the first period. Still looking for our first tally. Puck is still being kept alive along the kick plate. Brennan Young finally is able to kick it out to open space where Steve Brown will lead the charge for the hat tricks. Brown over to Anderson, trying to get around a defender. Gets it to Bull and Porter in the slot. Backhand try in front is fought off by Taylor. A rebound pops out loose into the far side circle.
Well, Kendall Bull and Porter's had arguably the 2 best chances of this game so far. Cutting on in. There's no stopping him in between the 2 defenders, and then he gets that backhand shot away, and then that rebound, second chance opportunity, tries to stuff it in.
I like that rush by Steve Brown, though. He was directing traffic in the zone on that last breakout. Corey Anderson thought about sneaking on in. Brown waves him off, leads the puck out of the zone.
Dunford keeps the puck in at the far side point, and it's been a minute since Steve Brown has found his way onto the score sheet despite some stellar defensive play these last few weeks. It's good to see the big defenseman getting more involved in the offense. Long pass is out of reach of Masters, and this one will go for an icing as Kenny Garrett is the first across the hash marks. And we'll have an offensive zone draw for the hat tricks. 8 minutes, 51 seconds gone by in the first.
And Casey, you're 100% right about Steve Brown. I mean, he's not one of those guys who his score sheet, his stat sheet tells you about his play. Look at what he's done over the last couple of weekends with all these injuries at the blue line. He's eating up minutes. He's out there pretty much every other shift. He's so physical. He's got such a good presence around to the back. And that's part of the reason why Dylan Kelly's been able to make so many saves, because good defending around him makes it easier for goaltenders to make saves.
Jack, you hit the nail on the head. There's a reason why Steve Brown was one of the first defensemen signed to this team, because you take a look at guys like a Kenny Garrett, like a Cruz Listmeyer, good defensemen, but they're young. They're not used to the grind of a regular season. Steve Brown is.
Racing ahead, and boy, a lot of arms went up into the air, Jack, on that offensive zone draw right off the faceoff.
Yeah, Johnny Ruiz came off the draw and fired it off of the near side corner, hit the far side corner, post, out. Almost all
a game
3.
of pinball.
Yeah. All 3 pieces of iron in and out. We've seen that a couple of times from Johnny Ruiz this season where he rattles it that closely. And even on the second chance opportunity, the hat-tricks had a chance to stuff it in. Phil Bronner was there, and he just couldn't get the shot off. Good defensive play by Delaware, but Ruiz was that close for breaking the ice.
Ruiz is chasing Carter Shinkarik for the team lead in goals. He's got 19. Shinkarik has 21. And Ruiz has started to pick up his scoring pace in the last couple of games. Out into the neutral zone it goes. Demon slides it over to DeCristofaro, who enters in on the left side. Steve Brown in front of him, forces him wide. DeCristofaro stops short, looking to the slot for Municello. It goes off a defensive stick and up into the 200 section across the way. And we'll have an offensive zone draw, I believe, for Delaware.
Casey, I'm taking a look at the replay of the Johnny Ruiz shot. Crossbar, post, goal line, out. You can't get much closer than that.
A matter of inches, and, well, such is life. A game of inches.
It's rough sometimes.
Face off to the right of Dylan Kelly. It'll be Shinkarik in the draw against Kristers Bormanis, the Latvian forward. Won by Bormanis out to the slot. Tundle with a shot that just goes wide. Patrick Tundle, who has himself a couple of goals against the Hat-Tricks this season, hunting for another one. Bormanis in the corner. Out to the far side circle. That shot gets swallowed up by Dylan Kelly, and he'll hold 9 minutes 45 seconds into the first.
Now, the reason why Tundle had to shoot it wide because Kelly cut the angle off, but how about that spacing there for Tundle? He finds a little soft spot in between the Danbury defense. You see one white jersey in around a bunch of orange jerseys, and he gets the shot away. It's actually quite impressive he was able to do that.
Here's Shane Morrissey flipping it ahead for Shinkarik. 3-on-2 developing for the Hat-Tricks. Shinkarik with Anderson and Morrissey. Shinkarik dances around a man. His shot, 5-hole! He scores! What a beauty! Carter Shinkarik, 1-0 Hat-Tricks!
Shinkarik puts this one in off the heel of his stick. You don't normally see shots come off the heel like that. Aaron Taylor opens up the 5-hole. His stick's not where it needs to be, and Shinkarik right through the wickets.
And we mentioned how good Morrissey and Shinkarik have been together. Morrissey, a nice little flutter pass to lead him ahead. That creates this 3-on-1, 3-on-2 that's developing. Anderson kind of drives the line, opens up some space. Shinkarik moves in, and he definitely did not mean to do that, but hey, it counts. It went through the legs and over the goal line.
Well, I think that's why it went in, because Taylor sees where the puck is on his stick. Aaron Taylor's a professional goalie. He knows that if the puck's here, it's probably going to go there. And then you off the heel of the stick, and an ice burner right through off the back bar. Yeah, okay.
Well, Shane Morrissey gets a ton of credit for that goal as well, springing it into action from his own zone. What a one-handed backhand pass that was to thread the needle up to Shinkarik, and, well, Shinkarik does the rest of the work. He carries it from the red line on in, and what speed for Carter Shinkarik, too, as he buries his 22nd of the year.
That's the key. It's the speed. Shinkarik, Morrissey, good luck trying to catch them. They're two of the fastest players in this league.
And this springboards the entire game. What did we see Delaware needed to do? They need to stop Danbury from scoring early in the first period. They need to get out in front. They're unable to do that with the leading scorer in the Hat-Tricks taking care of business.
Well, we were just mentioning before how Johnny Ruiz was in a race with Shinkarik for the team lead in goals, but here's Carter Shinkarik adding to that total.
Oh, Carter didn't want him to get too close. Got to keep it a nice competition at the very least.
So the Hat-Tricks now lead 1-0 as we pass the halfway point of the first period. Vlad Gavrik smoked out from behind his own net, and back to work go the Hat-Tricks. Carries it across the red line over to Bronner. Bronner to the slot. Gavrik turnaround. Backhander goes wide of the net. Levesque gets a stick on it, but it's forced wide by McIntosh, who will shovel it over to Cutting in his own corner. Out to Gavrik at the point. Keeps it in for Danbury. Ruiz behind the net. Skating out in front, looking to the near side post. Bronner had his stick being lifted from behind. Good defensive play there by Litke. Another chance out in front. Rolls off the stick of Levesque. Has a stick in his midsection. And we will get a delayed call as a result of it, as Levesque was taking a stick from the midsection. Do we have a hold?
Let's see what the call actually is, because I didn't see the referee make a signal. I don't know. We'll find out. 9:15 to go in the first period. And
well, it must not be a penalty because we are initiating the media timeout, so I believe they might just blow the puck dead. They might say it hit off of the netting, perhaps, after an initial try.
You might have something there, because I don't see a penalty box door open.
Well, while we have a moment to breathe, we want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for live game streams such as this one, as well as exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, interviews, highlights, and more. And join our mailing list at DanburyHattricks.com. And a good start here so far for the Hat-Tricks. 8 shots on goal in the first 10:45 to the Delaware Thunder's 3. But I tell you who's been active for Delaware has been Bormanis. You think he's energized a little bit to play against his former team?
You have to be. Of course you have to be. And this is a big moment for him, not only for against his former team, but in this stage of the season. Zach, you mentioned it's kind of a feeling out process for him, trying to get his feet under him, simplify his game a little bit. If he can do the little things right here on his former home ice in a place where they traded him away just a couple of games after they started, you're going to start to feel good about yourself. And he's made some really great plays, especially around the net, behind the net. He's making smart decisions with the puck early in this first period.
Something like that, it grows your confidence. Plus, you want to stick it to that old team. You know, look at the mistake you made in getting rid of me.
Gavrik spins away from a defender, crosses over to Easton Oliver. Municello gets a stick on it, forces it out into the neutral zone. It will be carried by Simonetta. Flips it up into the midsection of Oliver. Once more to Simonetta. Has to hit the brakes before crossing the blue line to avoid an offsides. Anderson skates over towards his bench, shielding the puck away from Demon, and will turn around and fire it into the attacking zone. Demon is the leading scorer out there for the Delaware Thunder. He's tied in points with Anton Kalinin, but Kalinin out of the lineup, hasn't played for the Delaware Thunder since January the 26th. So really, Evgeny Demon is the man to mark for the Delaware Thunder, and so far a quiet evening as here's Brennan Young crossing the center of the blue line, forced down to the ice by Steve Brown. And Steve Brown had him charging right towards him and just sent him right down into the ice. It looked like an offensive lineman with a defensive end charging towards him, just forces him right down into the ice.
He got pancaked there. He might have hit his chin on the ice as well.
Here's Brown again with Young in front of him, flips it up into the air. It'll be gloved down by Alex Basie. Taken away by Bronner. Shinkarik crisscrosses with Morrissey and enters in. Stops short in front of Bormanis, loses the handle on the puck. And the Hat-Tricks will have to hit the reset button with 7:45 to go in the first period, leading 1-0. Into the zone it goes where Basie picks it up. Pursued from behind by Morrissey. Puck sent into open space as the Delaware Thunder having a bit of trouble breaking out from their own end. Here's Masters. Run into by the stick of Levesque, but is still able to get the puck ahead to Tundle, who dumps it in deep. Garrett takes a check from behind from Masters, but Danbury retains possession of the puck, and they lead the charge up ice. One-handed pass intended for Gavrik is swatted back into the neutral zone. And now we have a breakaway chance for Bormanis. Bormanis in on Kelly. Bormanis backhander just wide. Bormanis almost capitalizes on a crucial turnover in Danbury's neutral zone.
Yeah, it rolled off of his stick there a little bit. Kelly cut the angle.
But beyond that, it was Shane Morrissey who decided with the puck at the red line that he was going to go for a change. That's what opened up the lane.
And just as we were mentioning that Bormanis was hungry for a goal, he gets himself a prime opportunity and made a nice move. Holding onto it is the captain, Penns Jr. Hits it off the wall, picked up by McIntosh after a misplay by Listmeyer. Skates to the point, now down low, Dunford. As it whacked away from him, Dunford gives chase. Edwards with a nice deke to evade the defender. Crosses to Listmeyer, who leads the charge. Here's Corey Anderson. Off the defender's legs, and the play really being limited right now to between the blue lines, as neither team giving any ground.
Nothing wrong with a little neutral zone ping pong.
Bolin Porter has a big check thrown on him by Charlie Penns Jr. He goes down onto the ice. He's wounded a little bit, gets back to his feet, and rejoins the forecheck. Demon carries it up the right wing as Municello joining him. Back pass now for Dunford. Dunford loses his footing a bit and loses the handle on the puck as well. Edwards shuffles it over to Morrissey, who in turn sauces it up to Bolin Porter, and up the ice he comes. Edwards goes off for a change. Bolin Porter in all by himself. Litke cuts him off. 5:40 to go in the first period. Here's De Cristofaro. Getting around Oliver. De Cristofaro off the post and into the netting.
You're seeing right now a lot of build-up there for the Thunder right around the Danbury blue line. A lot of one-touch passing that's actually worked for the Thunder. Little backhanders, they're short passes, but Danbury, they're very aggressive at their own blue line. They're coming out a lot, which is opening up some lanes. If you get that pass through that first defender, then you have that opportunity with guys barreling in and taking good shots. Kelly stood strong so far.
It's the aggressiveness of the Danbury defense. It's also the chemistry of the Delaware Thunder players as well. This isn't the beginning of the year. You get more comfortable with each other. You know where you're going to be without actually having to look at first.
Back pass for Shinkarik, and a sharp angled try is kicked out by Taylor. Just barely got a piece of that one. Behind the net it goes. Levesque rolls past his stick. Now will give chase. Goes into the corner with Litke. Has Bronner providing support. Municello, lead pass for Young. Has Gavrik to beat. Has him on his forehand. Kick save by Kelly. And again, only a couple of feet to maneuver with, and Young is able to find a lane in front. The Hat-Tricks getting turned around a bit in their own zone. Here's Levesque gliding across the blue line. Looking for Shinkarik down low. It's just past him. Paisano is throwing a stick check on him. Picked up by Tundle and carries it ahead as Bormanis with him. Tundle back pass, Bormanis crosses the way, blocked in front by Brown. And now turning around with a 3-on-2 developing. Here come the tricks. Bronner with Levesque and Steve Brown. Levesque with a backhander. That one's easily kept by Taylor. And he'll freeze the puck with 4:32 to go in the first.
You see how strong Steve Brown has been in his own end. He's been the best defender so far for the team in orange. Just strong on the puck, taking the body and creating a bunch of turnovers. The rest of the defenders, though, they need to wake up a little bit. Danbury a little bit careless in the attacking zone with the puck and then back the other way. Again, they're just jumping a little bit too much.
Shot off the faceoff draw finds Glass. Here's Edwards keeping it in low. Edwards out there with Ruiz and Anderson. Anderson at that near side post. Gavrick takes a step in, winds and fires, saved by Taylor. Rebound bouncing around in front. That one swept out of the crease by DeCristofaro, and up come the Thunder in transition. Here's Masters along the boards as cutting to the net. Looking down low, intended for DeCristofaro. It's cut off by the Tricks. Ruiz with some fancy footwork keeps the puck and gets it up the left wing, looking for Anderson, just barely able to stay on sides. Almost overskated the puck there. Here's McIntosh up the gut of the ice. He's in all by himself. Is able to get a wrist shot off well wide. Edwards up into the neutral zone has Dunford bearing down on him. Dunford throws another check on Johnny Ruiz and knocks him to his tuchus.
Well, Delaware right now taking the approach of if they can't beat him on the scoreboard, might as well just beat him.
Well, physicality can be the key to beating the Hat-Tricks. We saw that with the Elmira Enforcers back on January the 17th and 18th. As the Enforcers really took the body on the Hat-Tricks and made them pay on the scoreboard.
Listmayer's a bit injured out there.
As Listmayer hobbling back, he's favoring that left leg. As here's Bullen Porter. Back pass intended for Morrissey. They will rule him offsides as finally Listmayer is able to make his way down the tunnel.
Yeah, Listmayer blocked a shot there. See if it's just a stinger or if it caught him in an area like a knee or an ankle. Those never feel good.
And already a weakened blue line, and one more player to go down is not a great sign for Danbury. Billy McCreary might be a day away from suiting up once again if Listmayer is unable to go. But again, you hope it's just one of those plays where you get caught up high and it's tough to put weight on your leg. Then you get back after it after a couple of shifts.
One of the other missing faces from the blue line tonight, Aaron Atwell, who has missed now over a month of play with the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Sorely missed on that Hat-Tricks blue line because that's a player that can eat up 25, 30 minutes a game if necessary.
Well, Steve Brown and Aaron Atwell were the number one pairing for the last few months, and you're absolutely right. They would eat up 20, 25 minutes. You never had to worry about it.
It looks like we'll have a delayed penalty going against Danbury as interference will be the call. Kendall Bullen Porter, I believe, will be the man that they'll... No, excuse me. They're skating over, I believe, to Mattias Kasich. And yes, indeed, number 96 will take a seat in the sin bin, and the Delaware Thunder will get their first power play opportunity of the game.
Well, Delaware comes in with a 17.8 conversion rate on their power play. We mentioned at the beginning of the game how Delaware needs to take control early on. They weren't able to do that. 3:02 left in the first period, Jack. It's a good chance for them to at least gain some momentum into the intermission.
And they have been putting their foot on the gas a little bit here, moving the puck well, getting the puck into the attacking zone. They just need to continue that.
Short-handed Springer for Levesque. He gets to the puck now on the near side post. Cycling out in front for Bullen Porter, taken away. And a clearing attempt was just out of reach of Nicola Levesque. Otherwise, he might have had a clean breakaway. Now carrying it up the right wing is Young, getting around Levesque. Young, backhander. That's a kick saved by Kelly, and he holds. Young is out there with Demon Municello on the forward lines, with Charlie Pence Jr. and Anthony Paisano on the blue line.
Easton Oliver's 6'2", 205 pounds, but standing next to Paisano does not look that big.
Yeah, he gave him a little bump, and I think he looked up a little bit and said, oh, no, I don't want to go with him.
Yeah, Easton Oliver, he's not normally looking up at his opponent, but against Paisano, yeah, he is.
Big drive by Charlie Pence Jr. off the face-off is kicked out by Kelly. Demon behind the net with Paisano setting a screen in front. Shot by Young. That one's blocked in front. Paisano from his belly tried to get a backhander off. He was knocked down from behind by Vlad Gavrick. And there's a couple of Titans going at it. Literally. Literally a couple of former Danbury Titans.
And Gavrick 6'4" himself, and again, looking up at Paisano.
Halfway through this power play, Paisano and the Thunder will have to go the full 200 if they're going to find the back of the net. Here's Bormanis on the right wing. has Young and Masters with him. Dunford comes over the boards, replaces Paisano. Here's Young in the corner, looking across the way, rings it off the crossbar, bouncing around in the blue paint. It's underneath the pad of Dylan Kelly as he turns around angrily and kicks it out as he wants an explanation as to why the whistle was not blown sooner.
Well, that initial shot, it goes off of Kelly's head, maybe his shoulder. Then it hits the crossbar, drops down on the other side behind him. Boy, that's not fun.
Now you see Kelly, I mean, he's got charisma, but you usually don't see him that animated at an official. I mean, he is absolutely furious that it took that long for the official to blow the whistle.
Well, beyond not getting the whistle blown, you have the Delaware Thunder forecheckers poking in at him, slashing at his gloves, and that's one way to send a goalie over the edge real quick. Another way, scoring on a rebound on a shootout.
That is true, as the last time we saw Dylan Kelly that angry was the shootout Thursday, January 30th against the Carolina Thunderbirds. But here's a shorthanded look now for Ruiz crossing the way to Morrissey. It's broken up in front.
Ruiz is a little bit faster on that. Morrissey's in a prime position for a one-timer. Normally not thinking about one-timers in the slot on the penalty kill, but...
No, it'll happen sometimes. Johnny Ruiz does have himself a shorthanded goal on the year, as does the man who was joining him on the rush, Kendall Bolin Porter. Final seconds of the power play as the Thunder enter into the zone. Masters with a shot that's blocked in front by Brown. That'll do it. Kasich is out of the box. Final minute of play here in the first period. Hat-Tricks protecting a 1-0 lead as Oliver gives chase to the puck in the far side corner. Has Dunford behind him, escapes from behind his net. Now finds Levesque at the red line. Levesque coughs up the puck, and DeCristofaro will pick it up with a head of steam along his bench. Crosses the red line and flips it ahead off the end boards. Here's Oliver stopping it with 40 seconds to go in the frame. Springs Morrissey on the left side, racing ahead with Levesque with him. Levesque from the far side circle, shot high off the glass. Municello met at the blue line by Gavrik. It's kept in. Anderson swats at it, gets it to the slot. Now out to Levesque, looking for Morrissey in front, broken up. Now Gavrik with a backhander. That one just goes wide. 15 seconds to go in the period. It'll be picked up and flipped off the glass by Licky, and up come the Thunder. 10 seconds to go. McIntosh with Municello, back for Demon. Demon's shot, fought off by Kelly, and up into the netting it goes.
Size of Dylan Kelly, the aggressiveness of Dylan Kelly on display. He's out of his crease there to cut off the angle. He's down in the butterfly and is still tall enough to get a shoulder on it and send it out of play.
And if you look back on the other end of the ice, guys, Danbury just not clinical enough. They're not calm and crisp enough with the puck on their sticks. It's bouncing around a little bit too much for them. They're unable to finish.
2 seconds in one, and that will do it for the opening frame.
You know, Jack, to your point, it almost seemed like it was always just a foot out of reach or they were on their wrong-handedness. Everybody on the backhand. Yeah.
Well, the Danbury Hat-Tricks, after dominating possession in the early goings, the Delaware Thunder really turned it on in the second half as they had 11 shots on goal, Delaware did, to Danbury's 10.
And it's almost like they needed that initial goal to get going as a team. You saw how quickly they got from one end of the ice to the other, especially on that last sequence there where Kelly fought it off with his shoulder area. Very, very good turnaround there for Delaware. They have to be happy with the fact that it's just a one-goal game and that they came back in the shots department, started to put some pressure on the Danbury defense. Have to come out with that same intensity right out of the gate, though, because if Danbury puts another one on the board, it can really shift the tide.
Well, that'll do it here for the opening frame. We'll be back in a moment after the ice is cut and after a performance from Isabel Stein out on the ice from the Danbury Ice Angels under the direction of Dan and Halisco. We'll leave you to that as we'll go take a water break. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat-Tricks as they take on the Delaware Thunder here at Danbury Arena. Casey Bryant here bringing you exclusive live coverage of the Danbury Hat-Tricks tonight and every night. It's time for the FPHL Out-of-Town Scoreboard. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. Out in Elmira, the Watertown Wolves have a 1-0 lead over the Elmira Enforcers through one period of play. 29 shots on goal in that first period. Jamie Lucas, the only goal scorer, an even strength goal. Meanwhile, out in Michigan, the Mentor Icebreakers and Port Huron Prowlers are tied at 1 towards the end of the first period of play. Mike Moroso for Port Huron, Stevan Jurovic for Mentor. You'll like this one.
Lay it on me.
Down in Georgia, the Battle Creek Rumblebees are tied with the Columbus River Dragons.
I'll take it.
They're tied at 1 with 4 minutes remaining in the first. Jarrett Pfeiffer with the goal for the Rumblebees just 2 minutes into the game on the power play. Later on tonight, out in Danville, the Dashers and Carolina Thunderbirds will do battle. And right here in Danbury through one period of play, it's 1-0. Carter Shinkarik with the only goal in that first period.
Battle Creek and Columbus tied in Georgia. Not since Johnny's fiddle battle with the devil have I been so invested in a Georgian battle.
That's not bad.
Thank you.
That's not bad.
Thank you.
And we'll see the Columbus River Dragons for the first time this season next weekend.
That's true. And that will be an interesting matchup because, we haven't seen a lot of these Western Division opponents in quite some time. We haven't seen Danville here in Danbury Arena yet. We haven't played them since that second weekend of the season when the Hat-Tricks looked a lot different. Haven't seen Columbus at all yet this season, and we haven't seen Port Huron since opening weekend.
That's true, and Port Huron got a pair of overtime victories. You take a look at that beginning of the season. You weren't pressing the panic button, but you were at least finding out where on the console it was. Between the two overtime losses to Port Huron, they go out to Danville. They don't play much better. The Dashers take it to them, and things were a little dicey for the first couple weeks of the season. And then things got better. How long was that winning streak? 11 games?
11 games, and the Danbury Hat-Tricks are looking to extend another winning streak right now as they're looking to pick up their 6th in a row. And as for the Delaware Thunder, looking to stave off what will be their 10th consecutive loss if they find themselves on the wrong end of the scoreboard here tonight. But we did see a little bit of jump in them in the second half of the first period. All it took, really, it seems like, was that Carter Shinkarik goal for them to really pick up the pace and recognize the intensity of the moment.
They picked up the pace, and Delaware, if they're going to make the playoffs, sure, they're certainly trailing in the standings. They're trailing the Mentor Icebreakers by 21 points, but that's only 7 wins. There's still about 20 games or so left in the regular season. If Delaware can turn their season around, there's no reason why they can't make the playoffs, as Mentor has been struggling lately as well.
Well, if Delaware is going to make the playoffs, they're going to have to start making that push in a hurry. They are currently 8-26-0-0 on the season, and they are chasing the Mentor Icebreakers, who are in free fall right now, having lost 9 of their last 10 games. A brutal losing streak, which has kept the Delaware Thunder alive, even as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast. Delaware is without their 2 leading scorers now, and Brandon Contrado and Ryan Marker, who Contrado has gone to Battle Creek and Ryan Marker to Watertown. And Ryan Marker is playing replacement to Tyler Jurich, who was traded away from Watertown. What an interesting swap that is for Watertown.
It's certainly an interesting swap for Watertown. Meanwhile, you take a look at Elmira. Elmira is now on a 6-game winning streak. Since gaining the league's leading scorer, they've been on a tear.
And that already to go along with that top line of Tucker, Michaelis, and Ahmed Mahfouz, the FPHL legend. And they're seemingly built for a run at the Commissioner's Cup this season after falling short in the final last year, as Morrissey's backhander goes wide of the net, goes into the near side midboards. Here's Masters picking it up for the Delaware Thunder. Hat-Trick skating from right to left on your YouTube screen, donning their orange alternates. As mentioned at the top of the broadcast, these alternates will be auctioned off tomorrow after the game. You can get your tickets to the game at danburyhattricks.com/tickets and place your bid to get your favorite player's game-worn jersey. Bad angle try goes off the side of the net. That one off the stick of Taylor Cutting. Into the near side corner of the Hat-Trick zone it goes. Vlad Gavrik will corral. Looks up ice. Long pass intended for Morrissey is swatted out of the air by Demon. Back pass towards Shinkarik, who will dump it in deep and go off for a change. Easton Oliver aggressively in on the forecheck. Don't often see him behind the end line of the attacking zone, but nevertheless there he is. And entering in just offsides is Simonetta. Simonetta was recognizing that there was open space because the defenseman Easton Oliver was in so deep.
Oliver was the last Danbury player back, but Thomas Municello, just a stride ahead of the play, draws that off. It's a decent opportunity for Delaware. Instead, the faceoff comes right outside their zone.
So the faceoff will be in front of Billy McCreary's bench. McCreary back behind the bench after being released on waivers from his playing contract and is back where he belongs, behind the bench, donning his tan fedora. Entering in on the left side is Mark-Anthony Simonetta. His shot goes off the padding of Dylan Kelly. Out to the near side point it goes to Cristofaro's shot. Gets through a couple of different wickets and goes into the far side corner. Bouncing puck. Demon turns around and rifles a slap shot high and wide.
I think on that last chance, Simonetta was trying to go off the left leg pad of Dylan Kelly as once again Municello is streaking through the slot.
Gavrik joining the rush. A let's go hat tricks chant up from the crowd. Gavrik is stripped by DeCristofaro. Demon forced along the boards by Ruiz. Demon gets it up the right wing to Municello, entering in with Demon to his left, looking across the way for him. A shot is kicked out by the skate blade of Dylan Kelly. Now picking it up is Kendall Bolin Porter. Trying to chop some onions, is brought down from behind, and that will be a tripping call going against Brian Dunford. Dylan Kelly will make his way towards the bench, but will not get very far. And now we get some extracurriculars as Colin Edwards comes together with Alex Basie. Edwards dropped the gloves on Saturday against the Delaware Thunder. Found a dance partner in number 86, Brennan Young.
Yeah, he's no stranger to dropping the gloves, and he was a little agitated because of the extracurriculars after the trip of Dunford. Dunford gave some words and a little tap to Bolin Porter, so Edwards reciprocated, and that's why things occurred after the whistle.
Brian Dunford is going to sit in the box. He's 32 years old, one of the oldest players on this team. I don't know if you guys saw a bit of a veteran move there as Dunford got behind Edwards, takes his stick and puts it between the heel of the skate and Edwards' Achilles tendon. It doesn't feel good, but nifty little trick.
Out there on the power play will be Steve Brown, Nicola Levesque, Corey Anderson, Kendall Bolin Porter, and Vlad Gavrik. A different strategy here for Billy McCreary as he's got Steve Brown setting the screen in front of Aaron Taylor on the power play.
Big body in front, hard to look around him.
Wonky bounce off the Zamboni doors in the far side corner. Almost a chance for the Thunder, but now here's Bolin Porter. Stops at the point. Steve Brown will set up at the near side circle. Brown has not seen a lot of power play time yet this season. Now he'll make his way towards the slot, but the puck will be turned over. Taking a step in, gloving it down is Gavrik. Evades a defender. His shot goes wide. Nice stick move there by Vlad Gavrik to keep the play alive. Now once more Gavrik in the point with McIntosh in front of him. McIntosh and Simonetta, the two penalty kill forwards. They're out there with Charlie Penns Jr. and Anthony Paisano. Halfway through this power play. Taken by Anderson, crossing the way, Gavrik. Enters in. Looks to the net, instead looks for the deflection in front. Anderson gets a shot off that, stopped by Taylor. Paisano whacks it off the boards, not out. Kept in by Shinkarik. Over to Levesque at the near side circle. Has Bronner setting a screen. Anderson plays pitch and catch with Levesque. Gavrik goes off for a change. Morrissey will join the action. Bronner at the near side post. No one was in front. Tundle takes it away and sends it down the length of the ice.
Well, he's got to hang on to that puck a little bit longer. There's nobody there. Danbury was completing their change, and nobody was able to get in that backside slot area, which Bronner was intended to. Is just a bad pass.
20 seconds to go in the power play. Morrissey stops short in front of DeCristofaro. Now glides over to the Danbury Colonials logo at the center of the slot. Hits shot, he scores! Dropping a bomb from the blue line, it's Shane Morrissey.
Now this is a great response, too, for Danbury. Come out here on the power play. They convert. It's Morrissey who just picks his spot. They were giving him the shooting lane, so he was able to take his time and find that right shot. And you just see that Taylor just gets lost in the traffic in front. Almost impossible to pick up the puck. And a nice wrister for another hot scorer in Shane Morrissey.
Shane Morrissey, 11 games played in Danbury. That's his 11th goal. He's got 15 assists on top of that. Not bad.
He's been absolute magisterial.
Turnover now, and Anderson's shot trying to pick a corner goes under the right arm of Aaron Taylor. So Anderson tried to hunt and pick a corner. Magisterial is the right word for Shane Morrissey, as he's got now 27 points in his first 11 games as a Danbury hat trick.
He had the assist on Carter Shinkarik's goal as well.
Yeah, that gives him a multi-point performance. That is his 4th straight multi-point performance. Had 8 points last weekend against Delaware, and man, that train just keeps on chugging, as he's now the league leader in points per game average. Cruz Listmayer comes together with Masters and draws the ire of the Danbury faithful. Shot saved by Taylor. Bolin Porter picks up the rebound, and I believe some of the anger from the crowd was directed at the former Danburian, Anthony Paisano.
Well, he's not wearing Danbury's colors anymore.
And it's been some time since he's worn Danbury's colors. Had a part in 3 seasons, as there's Steve Brown knocking a man down and down on the ice and hurt. So we get a stoppage of play, as now dropping the gloves is Charlie Penz Jr. He wants a piece of Edwards. Edwards goes down to the ice before much of a fight can occur. Penz drags him back up to his feet, throws a couple lefts. And Charlie Penz Jr. just wanted to get a punch in.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Penz is going after Edwards when it was Steve Brown with the hit. It's Taylor Cutting who's down on the ice, and it's just a clean hit, a good hit along the boards right at the blue line, shoulder to chest. Nothing wrong with that.
So the fight actually doesn't occur because of the hit, guys. It's behind the play. Edwards has been a little bit nasty in the area around the goaltender, and you saw that Pisano had some words for him. Charlie Penz had some words for him, and it carried all the way into the defensive zone. And then after the hit was made, Penz drops the gloves. Pisano was going at it. It was unfair 2-on-1, and Edwards gets the brunt of it there. But that had nothing to do with the hit actually behind the play.
And usually when you see a guy on your team crumple down to the ice like that, you're expecting a response of some kind. And, well, the fight came, Jack, like you said, from almost 100 feet away.
And on the ice right now, wouldn't you expect, as we get some anger, Charlie Penz Sr. directing his ire towards a member of the crowd, wouldn't you expect from on the ice, Anthony Paisano is out there, Steve Brown throws the hit. Wouldn't you think that's Mayweather-McGregor right there? That's the ultimate matchup. That's Ali Frazier.
And more of a Tyson Holyfield, because they're heavyweights out there.
And that's the matchup that you would think that everyone would want to see.
Well, you know, I don't believe those two have ever dropped the gloves against each other before, but it certainly would not be a surprise if that happened at some point over this weekend.
So Penz and Edwards will continue their jawing in the penalty box. As well, we have a moment to breathe. We want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat Tricks at Danbury Hat Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the Hat Tricks YouTube feed for more live game streams like this one, as well. There's no love lost here on this Valentine's Day.
No, Edwards and Penz are still hollering at each other between the penalty boxes. Feel bad for public address announcer Christian Gardecki. He can't go on the mic until those two pipe down.
Charlie Penz Jr. does have a fight earlier this season here at Danbury Arena. Back on December the 7th, he dropped the gloves against Corey Anderson. That was towards the end of that game, and a game where the Thunder were trying to come back from down 2. And Penz Jr. removed himself from the ice for the final 3 minutes of what was an attempted comeback. As the officiating crew tries to determine what the penalties will be, Brennan Young is also making his way over towards the penalty box, and it looks like there will be an additional penalty on Charlie Penz.
An extra 2-minute instigator for Penz, served by number 86.
It's going to be an instigator penalty against Charlie Penz.
Well, Charlie Penz dropped the gloves and started whacking before really Colin Edwards had a chance to even drop the gloves himself.
I feel like it was more of a wailing more as opposed to a whacking. Either way. Yeah, all right, so Penz is going to get the 2 for the instigator. You have the 5 minutes up on the ice each for fighting. I did not hear of a 10-minute misconduct, which usually comes along with an instigator minor. Did not see if that was included.
Well, if that holds true, it will be a 2-minute power play for the Danbury Hat Tricks. And this would be a big opportunity for the Hat Tricks to hit the throttle, and you want physicality to shift momentum in the right direction, and you understand what Charlie Penz Jr. is trying to do. He's trying to spark his team. He's answering the bell for a hard hit. He's the captain of the team. His team is trailing by 2, staring down the barrel of a 10-game losing streak. You understand what he's trying to do. So for the hat tricks, you have to make sure you squash that bug real quick before it grows into something that you don't want.
Absolutely. The best way to respond to that, to your player getting beat up like that, is come back and score again. Send a message, say, hey, we'll beat you on the scoreboard. Doesn't matter how many times you drop the gloves, we'll be able to beat you with their score.
Ruiz with a one-timer that goes off the inboard glass. Ruiz out with Bronner, Kasich, Morrissey, and Shinkarik on the power play. Paisano is on the penalty kill with Basie. Over to Morrissey, slides it to Shinkarik, one-time shot saved by Taylor, rebound covered up by the catching glove.
Johnny Ruiz nearly hitting the back of the net right on cue. And then Carter Shinkarik, that last shot, it's not in his wheelhouse. He has to readjust himself. The puck hops up on edge. Bit of a knuckler for Aaron Taylor to deal with. Phil Bronner right on the doorstep. If there was a rebound, he would have had it.
Ruiz and McIntosh in the dot. McIntosh has Simonetta with him to complete the 4-man penalty kill unit. Here's a scramble out in front of the near side post. Puck is still loose. Now it'll be held by the blocker hand of Taylor as Bronner from his knees.
From his stomach. From his stomach, 2 shots on goal. From his belly. Are you kidding me?
Well, you saw the whole group of players kind of go one way, and the puck's trickling towards the net, and Phil Bronner was the only one with the awareness to find it and then put it on the net. Very impressive. Obviously, not much on the shot, but still great that he was able to put it towards the goal.
Simonetta will backtrack in the neutral zone. Paisano takes a swing and gets it down the length of the ice. Shinkarik will hold with 1:20 to go in the power play. 5 minutes and 40 seconds gone by here in the first. Hat tricks leading 2-0, trying to add to that. Here's Kasich. For Morrissey, holds it against the boards. Has Basie in front of him, skates behind the net. Bronner setting a screen. Ruiz, now in the corner, has Shinkarik at the blue line, finds him. Shinkarik has Morrissey wanting the one-timer. Shinkarik glides to his right, crosses to Ruiz. His shot goes off the toe of his stick and behind the end line. Bronner, 3 hat tricks behind the end line. Now they'll try to go back out to some space. Shinkarik, his shot goes off the side of the net. Now out once more. Morrissey looking for Ruiz. Shot just over the net. Ruiz didn't get all of the blade of his stick, and that will be an offsides as Shinkarik couldn't hold the blue line.
Ruiz didn't get everything he wanted on this. I still think Aaron Taylor got a piece of his stick on it. Because Taylor comes across the old double pad stack. Ruiz, the puck, again, it's on edge, so it's just fluttering, and I think Taylor just got enough to send it over the top of the cage.
I think you're 100% right, Zach. That is a heck of a save there for Taylor, just absolutely wailing his blocker in the air and makes enough contact to send it over.
Well, the way that he was barrel rolling onto the ice, it's reminiscent of Henrik Lundqvist's blocker save on the Montreal Canadiens in Game 6 of the 2014 Eastern Conference Finals, which has become one of Lundqvist's more iconic saves in his career. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Picking it up and carrying it ahead is Anderson with one last rush on the man advantage. Anderson slides it to Bolin Porter. Bolin Porter turns around from DeCristofaro. Has Gavrik at the center of the blue line. Finds him. Gavrik calling for it and receiving is Anderson. 2 seconds and 1. That will do it for the power play. Now Anderson back to 5-on-5. Picking a corner is Levesque. Shoots it high and wide. That will rattle out and spring. Brendan Young on a breakaway. Young in on Kelly. Young shoots and scores. Well, an errant shot finds its way out into the neutral zone, and there's Brendan Young to capitalize. It's 2-1.
That's the response that Delaware needed. Brendan Young, he catches this puck at his own blue line as the momentum off the missed shot is carrying it out of the zone. There's no Danbury defense back there. You figure you would have a defenseman at least watching somebody coming out of the box. Instead, Brendan Young has about 150 feet of open ice. He makes no mistake and snaps it over the blocker of Dylan Kelly.
Yeah, this gets rattled around the boards, and Vlad Gavrik comes to play it. Forgets that the player's coming out of the box, and it just goes by him, and he's already beat by the time it gets to the stick of Young, and then you see Kelly kind of frozen there, not really sure what to do. Young just picks a wrister and lays it up.
For Young, it's his 9th goal of the season. You see why. I mean, a snapshot like that, a release like that, fantastic.
Well, for Brendan Young, that is the monkey off the back. That is his first goal in his last 10 games. Snaps a 9-game goalless drought. His last goal came on December the 26th. So for Brendan Young, who does, as you said, have a terrific scoring touch, Surely that is a weight off of his shoulders.
It's a nice Valentine's Day present for the young man.
And well, after a couple of different breakaway opportunities on Dylan Kelly, the bow finally breaks, and the Delaware Thunder are on the board. Easton Oliver up to Mattias Kasich. Kasich strips Young and glides across the red line. Hits it off of the stanchions next to Tom McGuckin on the Hat-Tricks bench, and this will be out of play. 7 minutes, 46 seconds into the second period.
I think Danbury Arena might be the only one in the league that has the NHL standard of the curved glass at the benches there. Leads to some interesting bounces sometimes.
And the reason for that, Zach? Because of the preseason AHL game that was hosted here just a few months ago, back in October.
That's true, as the Springfield Thunderbirds were here against the Hartford Wolfpack. Had to make sure that it was at NHL regulation.
That's not a bad excuse to upgrade.
Not at all. Here's Levesque carrying it in on the left side. Looking towards the slot, Ruiz will field. Kenny Garrett switches places with Ruiz. Ruiz sends it to an open space. Gavrik in the corner has Bronner in front. Levesque in the bumper position between the hash marks. Cycles it down low for Bronner. Looking for the backhand pass in front. Levesque fields, turns around, looking in front of the net. Grabbed out of the air by Taylor, and he holds. 8:24 into the second.
Litke, the defenseman for Delaware, has to keep his head on a swivel, has to remember where the puck is. That puck comes out into the far side corner. Litke would have been easily able to handle it, but his eyes are to the front of the net. He doesn't see the puck. He doesn't see the opportunity.
Faceoff will be to the left of Taylor. It will be Demon against Bolin Porter. Demon wins it back to DeCristofaro, who turns around and loops it around the glass, and racing after it is Mark-Anthony Simonetta. Receives behind the end line as Municello playing the cycle game with him. Municello takes a check from Anderson, but holds on to the puck. Looking for Dunford at the point. Keeps it in. Bolin Porter grabs it for the Hat-Tricks. Evades Municello. Dishes it back to Brown. Brown almost coughed up the puck at the post, but it'll be taken now by Kasich. Kasich up ahead on the right wing. Has DeCristofaro in front of him. Kasich with a backhander goes wide through the net mouth. And picking it up is Simonetta. Now leading from Municello out there with Demon. Municello forced wide by Listmayer. Listmayer finishes the job and gets him against the wall. Demon looking for the stuff-in try. Skates out to the near side post and shoots it right into the center of the sweater of Dylan Kelly, and he holds 9:15 to go. It's 9:15 into the period, I should say.
And Kelly makes a good save there on the wraparound try, but again, Delaware starting to build some momentum. That goal has kind of opened the door for them offensively. Kind of skating around in circles now against Danbury, and you have to wonder how tired those defensive legs will get. Again, not a lot of shifts, or too many shifts, I should say, for the defensive pairings out there because of the smaller blue line that Danbury has to deal with.
Off the glove of Christers Bormanis. Over towards Shinkarik by his bench, will retreat for a bit and sends it back towards his defenseman, Easton Oliver. Oliver from just behind the red line, they will deem it no icing. Morrissey now in the corner. Turning around with it is Shinkarik. Shinkarik crossing the way to Oliver, has it hop off of the heel of his stick. Morrissey with a blind setup in front looking for Shinkarik. Shinkarik pops it up into the air and Taylor snatches it, but Shinkarik looked like he was trying to flip it up to himself.
Would have been impressive if he pulled it off, but we've seen it a couple times now where Danbury's getting in around the crease area. The puck's popping up in the air a little bit, and you have to give the credit you can to Aaron Taylor, who's hung in there and had an active glove, because you take a bad read on one of those plays, that puck drops, and then somebody could be waiting there on the back door, just tap it in. So good job by him to stay with it.
Yeah, Carter Shinkarik with a bit of a pepper game as he's trying to get himself in front of the net.
3-on-2 developing. Here's Tundle on the left wing. Young streaking to the net, and Bormanis behind him. Here's Young, cut off by Listmayer. Now Steve Brown, a couple of hat tricks, gluing a couple Thunder players against the wall. Keeping the puck alive, Bormanis feeds Young. One-time shot goes high and up out of play. Goes over by our raffle sales in the near side corner of the hat trick zone. Keeping Emily Glennon on her toes over there.
You never know where the puck's going to find you here at Danbury Arena. I like what Donald does in the corner, though. He's being pinned up against the wall by Steve Brown, but he's still able to control the puck. he's able to keep his eyes up. Brown thinks that he has everything handled, so he's just waiting for a whistle or for the puck to leave. But Tunnel, a good pass, and it leads to another offensive opportunity for Delaware. They have looked much better in the second period.
So 9:40 to go here in the second period, excuse me. Mental lapse. So the Danbury Hat-Tricks protecting now a 2-1 lead, and the Delaware Thunder starting to put the pedal to the metal a little bit. They finally broken through on Dylan Kelly, and the propensity at which they are able to get breakaways and odd man rushes at this point, it's a bit concerning that Delaware is able to generate this for themselves.
I agree, and I'm starting to see more of a set play coming from Delaware. It's how Young got the goal. I saw Simonetta try that the next shift. They're looking for that long stretch pass around the boards, get behind the defense. The neutral zone, it hasn't been working for them. Danbury, when they've got all their guys back, Delaware has had some real trouble breaking into the zone. But if you can catch Danbury being overly aggressive, now you got a shot.
And that's the majority of the time that Delaware's found the way into the offensive zone, is with Danbury being overly aggressive, and those holes have been opening up, and you have to say that it has to be a point of emphasis moving forward for Coach McCreary and his coaching staff to say, hey guys, we need to put an emphasis on getting at least one guy back. We need to have multiple defensemen ready to go, and obviously the offensive part of the game hasn't come yet for Danbury, so they're trying that hand, but they really need to be shored up on defense.
Towards the Hat-Tricks bench, Cutting will take a backhand swipe at it and send it into the zone. McIntosh trying to get around Listmayer. Listmayer throws an elbow at him and keeps him off the puck. Now a hard check. Puck pops out to Steve Brown, who dances around the linesman and gets it out to Levesque on the right wing. Not out of their zone yet. Brown with Cutting. Out to Anderson, and up come the Tricks in transition. Anderson will dump it in, and Ruiz and the defensive pair will go off for a change, and we'll have a stoppage in play.
And Corey Anderson will get called off sides here, even though it was the linesman who got in the way and caused the whistle. Linesman looks to be a little shaken up, but he should be all right.
Corey Fulton getting recognized here. Is Corey Fulton in the house tonight? And Corey Fulton getting his number retired on March 7th.
Yeah, he'll be the first one in Danbury hockey history.
A breakaway backhander is kicked out by Kelly. And yeah, Corey Fulton, an original Danbury Whaler, played in 2010, 2011, and 2011, 2012. And you want to talk about guys who can rack up penalty minutes. Well, Corey Fulton is one of the best in those 2 seasons, in 60 games, over 400 penalty minutes.
He made Anthony Paisano, his teammate with one of those Whalers, seem looks like a saint.
Municello entering in offsides. And they will do it out from the neutral zone. And Corey Fulton, one of many men being recognized that night as Danbury Hockey Alumni Night, Saturday, March 7th against the Danville Dashers. We'll be honoring the playing career of Corey Fulton and the memory of the teams that played here, the Danbury Trashers, who won the UHL Eastern Division in 2005-2006, Danbury Titans, who won the Eastern Division in the FHL in 2015-16, and, of course, the Commissioner's Cup champion Danbury Whalers in 2012-2013, all getting banners raised to the Danbury Arena rafters.
I'm expecting this place to be loud that night.
Absolutely. Bouncing puck out to between the hash marks, picked up by Bolin Porter, leaves it for Edwards, who's taking his first shift since his fighting major. Edwards leaves it for Bolin Porter to the net, shoots it wide. Brown will corral the puck at the far side point and chip it down low for Edwards. Cut off by Tundle and sent out towards Brown once more at the neutral zone, who will retreat and send it up to Edwards. Flips it over to the right side, intended for Kasich, and it will be swatted back down towards the Hat-Tricks end line.
Just a bookkeeping note, with Colin Edwards back on the ice but Charlie Pence Jr. still in the box, I assume that he did receive that 10-minute misconduct.
As is custom with the instigation. Here's Bolin Porter with Edwards streaking to the net. Bolin Porter with a change-up shot that's held in front of Taylor, and he holds with 7:26 to go in the second period. An offensive zone draw for Danbury, and they'll be sending out their top line of Ruiz, Bronner, and Levesque.
Take to see a little bit more from this line, Casey. I know that they've tried a couple of good passing. They've been connected on the power play, but on 5-on-5, There really hasn't been too many passes connected from the hash marks lower. You really have to see a lot more of that from this top unit.
Now, meanwhile, you have guys in both Ruiz and Bronner who have had great opportunities. They haven't been able to find the back of the net. I expect them. Let's see how this shift goes.
Quick shot off the face-off. Levesque, who was having a conversation with Johnny Ruiz before that face-off dot, clearly was waiting for that one-timer and just shanked it a bit wide. Kelly out from his net to play the puck. Will backhand it over to Vlad Gavrik. Wonky bounce off the boards. Masters holds now for Delaware. Unicello gets a stick on the puck. Levesque. Aggressive forecheck for Delaware. 2 attackers in the offensive zone. Ruiz turns around, winds and sends one towards Taylor, who blockers it into the corner. Here's Ruiz. Sharp angle try, goes off the chest of Taylor. Rebound, Paisano slings that into the corner. Levesque holds onto it for Danbury. A let's go hat tricks chant up from the crowd as Ruiz takes the puck, sends it out to Oliver, crosses to Gavrik. Gavrik with a shot through traffic. Levesque got a stick on it, but so did Taylor. Ruiz now cycling it down low for Levesque. Bronner setting a screen in front. Behind the end line it goes. Ruiz skates out to open space, loses the handle on the puck. Still fighting for it. Ruiz is able to send it in from really falling down. Keeping it in at the blue line is Bronner. Shuffles it to Levesque, loses the handle. He'll take a check, and Paisano will settle things down for Delaware as that puck gets sent down the length of the ice, and that will go for an icing, and that stops what was a haphazard shift in the defensive zone for Delaware.
And the Delaware bench was screaming at the officials. They wanted a too many men for the hat tricks. It was kind of a sloppy change for them. You see pretty much all the players in white and black standing up, calling for that one. The officials keep their arm down, but that was the shift that Ruiz, Bronner, and Levesque line needed there, Zach, what we were looking for.
Yeah, they kept the puck in the offensive zone basically 45 of the 50 seconds they were out there. Good shift.
Brown chases and holds. Sends it in deep with under 6 minutes to play in the second period. Hat tricks leading 2-1. Taylor. Miscommunication a bit with his defenseman. Open net. Shinkarik sends it just high. Taylor was waiting for his defenseman Paisano to pick up the puck, and it never came.
And he was super out of position, too, when he got back into the blue paint. He's laying down on his right side, and he's just kind of throwing his glove up in the air trying to stop that puck. And Shinkarik virtually misses about a 67% open cage.
And he was trying to go up high because he saw how low on the ice Taylor was. And Shinkarik hit the net. The problem is it's the one that's behind the glass.
We get a quick whistle off the face-off as Shinkarik went tumbling down onto the ice on Brian Dunford. We'll do it again to the right of Aaron Taylor. Yevgeny Demin will go up against Carter Shinkarik on the dot. Shinkarik wins it back to Listmayer. Listmayer with a shot sent right into the Viking on the center of the sweater of Aaron Taylor, and he holds.
Poor Viking, but a good shot by Listmayer. You want to see just a little more traffic in front of the net. Taylor had a very clean look at that.
Once more, Shinkarik wins it back. Here's Morrissey. Turning around, hits it off of the body of Dunford. Now here's Demin. Looking up the right way, Simonella. That shot goes off of the elbow of Dylan Kelly and kept alive. Simonetta. Out towards open space, springing Shane Morrissey. Morrissey with Shinkarik. A rush opportunity if they hurry. Looking for Shinkarik. Shinkarik was tied up by Dunford, and that will draw a penalty. Dunford was all over Shinkarik, wearing him like a sweater.
And Dunford's looking at the referee asking, what did I do? What he did was interfered with Carter Shinkarik, basically from the red line to the top of the circles. That being said, if I'm Brian Dunford, that's not a bad penalty to take. Carter Shinkarik, Shane Morrissey, we talked about their speed earlier, and the pass came right across. Would have been an easy tap-in.
And I think Shane Morrissey recognized, really, that he didn't have a shooting lane and he might be able to get a penalty called if he passed it over to Shinkarik.
See, sharing is caring.
Anderson takes a step-in shot it right into the padding of Aaron Taylor. I mean, it's a bit like the NFL, where if you recognize that there's pass interference, just heave it downfield if you've got that one-on-one coverage, and you'll be able to get the pass interference call half the time.
Well, unless you're on New Orleans, but
Hey-oh. Some Saints fans would say that's still too soon. Levesque to Anderson at the far side midboards. Has Bull and Porter, Levesque, Gavrik, and Brown out with him. Brown setting that screen in front. Bull and Porter has it on his backhand, spins away from Paisano. Looking across the way to Gavrik. Holds at the near side circle, Municello in front of him. Municello, McIntosh, Paisano, and Charlie Pence Jr., the penalty kill unit. To Gavrik for the one-time shot, goes into the catching glove of Taylor. Taylor gave a glance behind him. He thought that might have beat him.
He gave a glance behind him, looks in his glove and goes, oh, look what I have here.
That's better puck movement, though, for the Hat-Tricks. They were able to get it from one side to the other very quickly. Gavrik with a well-timed shot, and you could see how unsure Taylor was with handling the shot.
Well, he's unsure because he doesn't have a clean look. You've got Charlie Pence in front of net. You've got Steve Brown in front of net. That's how the screen works.
New unit out for the Hat-Tricks. Bronner, Ruiz, Kasich, Morrissey, and Shinkaruk. 1:25 to go in the power play. 4:40 to go in the period. Ruiz to Bronner on the doorstep. Out in front, Morrissey hunting for the net. Sends it wide. Ruiz settles it with Simonetta in front of him. To Bronner. Quick passing out in front. Pops up into the air. Will go over towards Demon, who skates towards it. Played by a high stick. Face-off will remain in the Delaware zone.
Phil Bronner loves that give-and-go play. Ruiz starts it. Bronner sends it towards the front of the net. Ruiz is a right-handed shot. That's going on his forehand. Good job by the Delaware defense to collapse on in, prevent Ruiz from taking a clean look.
And they've done that through the multiple power plays that Danbury's had. As soon as you see a player skating in, all the bodies kind of converge on top of him.
Ruiz from the hash marks. Blocker save, Taylor. Minute to go on the power play. Shinkaruk shields the puck from Simonetta. Backhands it to Morrissey. Bronner once more taking the eyes away from Taylor. Switches places with Shinkaruk. Morrissey looking across the way, taken away by Simonetta. Simonetta off to the races. Shinkaruk trying to cut him off. Shinkaruk on the back check forces him wide. Shot saved by Dylan Kelly. Aggressive full-speed back check by Carter Shinkaruk forces Simonetta into a lower percentage chance, but still overcommitment on the part of the Hat-Tricks leads now to this shorthanded chance. Simonetta dances around a defender and gets a shot off that's poked away by Kelly.
And it's a great back check by Carter Shinkaruk, but unfortunately, it's not the first time that we've seen him have to do that.
And it's rare that you see the mistake made by Shane Morrissey, just trying to do too much with the puck at the blue line. When you're the last line of defense, you either move the puck or shoot it. He does neither and turns the puck over.
Dylan Kelly has no other recourse but to freeze the puck with 17 seconds to go in the penalty to Dunford. 3:31 to go in the second period. And the Hat-Tricks will have to start from their own end.
I know the Hat-Tricks have 17 seconds left in this power play, but I think they'll be happy to get back to the locker room. This has not been a clean period for them. It just hasn't been a good period for them.
So we have a face-off infraction off the draw, and we'll have to do it again to the left of Dylan Kelly. And Corey Anderson, it looks like, might be getting the boot from the draw, and yes, indeed, he will. Kendall Bullen Porter will replace. Bullen Porter, a more natural center. But he loses the draw nonetheless. It'll be taken now by Clark, getting his first shift of the game. Jordan Clark on the blue line.
And Jordan Clark wearing the full, well, not a bird's cage, the fishbowl, if you will, wearing the full visor.
Don't see that every day at the FPHL level.
No, certainly not.
Waning seconds of the power play. One last rush with the extra man. Here's Anderson entering in. 2 seconds and one. That will do it for the man advantage. The puck gets sent into the corner. Bullen Porter takes a hit from behind from Clark. Bullen Porter having his stick lifted. Gets support from Levesque. Levesque drilled against the boards. Bullen Porter escapes. Turning around and shooting one well wide. Listmayer will field at the point and send it back in deep off the end boards. It will get out towards Dunford on the left wing. Looking for McIntosh. Pops up into the air. Gloved down by Municello, and he enters in. Municello takes a hard hit from Listmayer. Bullen Porter leaves the puck for now his defender, Steve Brown. 2:40 to go in the second period. Hat-Tricks lead by 1. Levesque crosses the blue line, shoots it off the legs of Paisano, collects his own rebound. As the Hat-Tricks now get onto the ice after a long change. Here's Kasich chasing after it.
And you see how Levesque kind of waited with the puck. He could have made a pass right in front of the net. Instead, he waited. He knew the rest of the line mates were changing.
Taken away, Bormanis. Bormanis cutting to the net, stripped from behind by Easton Oliver, and he goes upended into the boards. Bormanis' first shift in quite some time. Saw a lot of ice time in the first, not so much here in the second, but is able to get a breakaway. Partial breakaway at that. Paisano. Weak pass is intercepted by Gavrik. Has Kasich calling for it. Instead goes the short way to Bronner, who leads Ruiz. Ruiz getting around now. Litke has it on his backhand behind the end line with 1:45 to go in the second. Out to the point. Oliver chips it in. Ruiz hits it off the kick plate, rolling towards Bronner. Out of reach of Kasich. Now picking it up is Bormanis, kisses it off the glass. It finds its way towards Young. Flitters up into the air, and who wants it? Well, Steve Brown does. He picks it up by the penalty box. Leaves it back now for his defensive partner, Oliver. Oliver's errant pass goes off of Brown's legs. And now Brown with a pass that's forced wide by Tundle. Now a setup in front for Demon that's cleared out of the way by Easton Oliver. And oh boy, bit of a miscommunication there from Brown Oliver. Here's Morrissey the other way. Back pass for Shinkarik. Shinkarik forcing it ahead. It's broken up by the defense. Good play there by Basie.
1 minute left to play in the second period. 1 minute.
Towards Kelly, he steers it into the far side circle. Taking a step in, Dunford squares to the net. Shot was heading well wide, but Kelly will glove it out of the air just for safety and will settle play down with 47.3 to go in the frame.
Hey guys, look at the shots on goal total right now. A lot of credit to Delaware for hanging in, continuing to provide the pressure, but at this point in the game, we usually would see 35 to close to 40 shots from Danbury. They're just not getting those kinds of looks in this game, and you have to applaud the effort from the Delaware Thunder in their own third of the ice, just absolutely taking away shooting lanes, blocking shots, and making Danbury feel uncomfortable.
Danbury's not getting the amount of shots that they normally have. And Delaware, how many shots have they had that have just gone wide? You know, that's 21 on goal, but you could almost double that if they hit the net every time.
Well, part of that is, the Danbury defense, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, bleeding shots at an uncomfortable clip, averaging over 35 shots against per game over their last 10 games. And it's a worrying stat, and really, again, going back to the Carolina series at the end of January, how many of those chances went just wide? You talk about Corsi and Fenwick ratings, of which you are a big fan, Zach. Those are shot attempt chances that you're seeing right now for Delaware. It's coming to fruition a bit. They're staying in this game.
And when these series get tighter and tighter as the season develops, you have to make sure that you're taking care of business in all three phases of the game, all three locations. And right now, Danbury's getting absolutely moved around in their own zone.
And speaking of getting moved around, Cruz Listmeyer almost got danced around by Simonetta. Final seconds of the period, Shinkarik evades a defender, one last shot, getting a piece of it, Taylor. Turning around, Anderson collides with the official, and that will do it for the second. A frustrating frame, but one in which the Danbury Hat-Tricks retain the lead. 2-1 is your score. Shinkarik and Morrissey have found the back of the net for the Hat-Tricks. Brennan Young, the lone goal for the Delaware Thunder. And what a period it was really for Delaware, Jack, as they still, once again, for now the 7th time this season, find themselves in prime position to strike a blow against the Hat-Tricks.
It really is comfortable territory, I think, for Delaware, just the way that they responded. And you see Danbury, they go up 2-0 in this period, and then Delaware, right after the power play exits, you see Brennan Young take off and score a great goal. Really, really good stuff. And I think that right now where Delaware is, they have to be happy. Again, another hard-fought period, and they're putting Danbury right where they want them. They're eliminating their shot opportunities. They're taking their offense out of the game, and it's working for them. Right now, all Delaware needs is just more time in the offensive zone and possibly a power play or two. Danbury's been very, very good at staying out of the box. They've been disciplined in this game, so that's going their way. Delaware's one step away, though.
They need to stay disciplined because, like you said, if they connect on that last power play opportunity that they had, they're going into this intermission tied at 2. And for a 1 versus 5 game that we have here, that's not supposed to happen. And yet, Delaware's sticking with them. I want to see more hockey, though. I can't tell if it's Delaware playing at such a high level or if it's Danbury playing down to Delaware's level. I think the answer to that question will determine how the third period goes.
And we'll be back with coverage of the third period in just a moment once the ice is cut. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks as they take on the Delaware Thunder here at Danbury Arena. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. It's time now for the FPHL out-of-town scoreboard. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. Hanging out in New York, the Watertown Wolves and the Elmira Enforcers through 2 periods of play. Watertown with a 3-1 lead. For the Delaware fans at home, Ryan Marker has the last 2 goals of the game for the Watertown Wolves. Out in Michigan, the Port Huron Prowlers have a 4-2 lead over the Mentor Icebreakers. Good news for those listening in Delaware. Casey, down in Georgia,
Hit me with it.
Columbus River Dragons have a 5-3 lead over
Only-
the Battle Creek
Hey,
Rumblebees.
that's 2 goals.
That is 2.
That's the least safe lead in hockey.
This is true. Let's go Battle Creek. Out in Illinois.
They say no rooting in the press box, but that doesn't apply to other teams.
Exactly.
In the league.
That's why they call it a homer, because you're for the home team. We're just for Battle Creek.
Exactly.
So.
What's the opposite of a homer? A roader? What would that be?
And a where?
A roadie.
Hey,
Roadie Rams.
There you go. Hey, exactly. You're right. Here
Yeah.
we go. Meanwhile, out in Illinois, the Carolina Thunderbirds jump out to a 4-0 lead in the first period. They have just begun the second period. And right here in Danbury, it's a 2-1 game. The Danbury Hat Tricks over the Delaware Thunder. Shane Morrissey, a power play goal at 4:05, made it a 2-0 game. Johnny Ruiz, Carter Chinkarik with the assist. And then even strength, Brendan Young on a breakaway for Delaware puts the Thunder on the board, and that's how we got to right here.
Well, the Thunder played a very solid defensive period in that second frame, and it was really led the way by that top pairing of Charlie Penns Jr. and Anthony Paisano. They take up so much space in the defensive zone. It's very hard for the Hat Tricks to operate that way.
absolutely. You look at the spaces in between the circles, there really isn't any with those two at the defensive end of things, and it's really, really worked for Delaware. And obviously, their defense has stood strong. It's just a matter of time of whether they can get their offense going enough to beat Danbury. Because if Danbury scores 1 more goal, I don't know if necessarily Delaware has the talent to put up 2 against Danbury. If they can keep finding creases and just explode in this third period, that's one thing. But based on the way that this game is being played, if Danbury gets 1 more, I find it very difficult that Delaware has enough offensive potential to find themselves back in this game.
I think it will depend on how Danbury responds, assuming that they get the next goal. They've played real fast and loose this game. Their neutral zone play hasn't been as tight. Their breakouts haven't been as tight as they usually are. If this Danbury team was playing against an Elmira or a Carolina, I think we're looking at a very different score. So Danbury, they have to make sure they keep their heads in the game, and if they do take that 2-goal lead, while Casey, it may be the most dangerous lead in hockey, Jack, to your point, if Danbury then just, to borrow a soccer term, parks the bus, if they go super conservative, yeah, I can see them easily skating away with this. So how does Delaware prevent that from happening? Get the next goal. They weren't able to connect on the power play towards the end of the second period, but as you mentioned, Casey, they played a much better second period compared to the first.
Well, it was a animosity-filled second period at that, as we saw some fisticuffs between Charlie Penns Jr. and Colin Edwards, and we saw some anger being directed across the way. The camera, I don't believe, picked it up, but there was some anger directed between the 2 head coaches, Charlie Penns Sr. of Delaware and Billy McCreary of Danbury. I would expect a fired-up Hat Trick squad to come out of the tunnel, and by the same token, a energized Delaware team trying to snap this losing skid that they're on.
And the message from Billy McCreary definitely has to be, let's bring up the intensity here. Let's defend our home ice, because this is a place where Danbury hasn't really lost many games on since the beginning of the season. Obviously, the couple of losses against Elmira are difficult, but they've been riding a very good high here on home ice. And Billy McCreary is one guy who praises, culture and protecting home ice, and that's going to be important over the next couple of minutes. I think you're right, Casey. These players are going to come out fired up for the third period.
Well, shots on goal are almost dead even heading into the third period. 24 in favor of the Delaware Thunder, 23 for the Danbury Hat Tricks. And we've seen second periods get kind of lackadaisical in the last couple of weeks. The long change has proved to be a challenge for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Now they've got the short change back on their side. They're trying to close things out in the third period. How, Zach, will they be able to hold down this lead in the third period and lock things down?
Well, they need, like I said, they need to tighten things up. I'm reminded of their breakout passes going through the neutral zone. They're not connecting right now. Casey, you mentioned it earlier how all the play was between the blue lines. Well, that's the way it was because Danbury had some real trouble. Now, how do you deal with that? Do you, A, change your system? Do you go to more of a dump and chase, perhaps? Or do you rather just kind of slow things down a little bit? You know, you get excited. It's Valentine's Day. I can certainly understand the guys being excited. But slow it down. Simplify. You're in first place for a reason. Play your game.
Well, Jack, in the third period, who do you expect to be an X factor?
On either side, I would have to say I like Dylan Kelly in goal for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. I mean, he has been absolutely stellar over the past couple of weekends. Really, that Carolina series is where he jolted forward, and now he's got the luxury of having Tom McGuckin behind him, and I think that's going to help him immensely over the next couple of weeks leading into crunch time and playoff time, is being able to say, hey, I can play 1 or 2 games in a row and then have that third day off, that second day off. I think his time over the next couple of minutes, these are his final 20 minutes, you expect Tom McGuckin to come out and perform. And on the other side of things, we haven't seen much from number 20, Taylor Cutting. And I think that him being involved in the offensive side of the game, if he doesn't produce, I think that takes a whole extra edge out of the game for Delaware.
Delaware comes charging out onto the ice, led by Aaron Taylor, who to this point has stopped 21 of 23 shots on goal. And now here come the orange and black. They will be skating from left to right on your YouTube screen. A reminder that if you like the orange jerseys that you see on your screen, you can head on out to Danbury Arena tomorrow night. Get your tickets at danburyhattricks.com/tickets for our post-game silent auction. You can get the jersey off of your favorite player's back. And if you cannot make the game, go ahead and call 203-794-1704, the main office, and you could put in your bid for the silent auction.
Well, that's the benefit of the silent auction, because I've seen, the previous Danbury teams where they're doing a jersey off of our backs promotion. Well, first of all, those games are packed, and I've seen the live auction where you have somebody at center ice and they're going, can I get $200? And you see all these hands go up. Can I get $250? And it keeps going. The highest one that I ever saw was a Matt Caranci jersey. It went for $550 off his back into a fan's hand.
Goodness me. Must have been a big Caranci fan.
Most people in Danbury are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just hope it wasn't, Mr. and Mrs. Caranci, perhaps, sticking into their own pockets.
I'm sure it wasn't. Matt Caranci was here for 6-7 seasons between the Whalers and the Titans, and he was a member of the championship team, one of those beloved guys, like Anthony Paisano was, but now he wears Delaware's silver and black.
And that silver and black will flip the puck ahead over towards the Danbury end, where Cruz Listmeyer will field. It would be out of reach of Shane Morrissey, and it will not be an icing, as Matthias Kasich will get there first. Shane Morrissey didn't move after the puck went past him. He was wholly expecting that to be an icing. He looked down at his stick, almost inquiring as to whether or not it had a hole in it. Taken away, and now here's Municello. Municello looks to the net. That's a blocker save by Kelly and kept alive. But now this whole play is transpiring, really, because of that icing that wasn't. Shinkarik leaves it for Kasich. Now up the left wing, Morrissey. Charging ahead with pens in front of him. Slides it towards the slot, picked up by Kasich. Glides to his left, his shot blocked in front by the legs of Demon, who picks it up and carries it ahead. Short passing, Municello will dump it in deep and go off for a change.
And you see how quickly Danbury's rush gets blocked down, literally with a block shot. Demon knocks it down, cleans it up himself, and then moves the puck and allows Delaware to get a change. That's how quickly they're forcing turnovers just like that one to make Danbury uncomfortable.
Masters takes the puck away, looking for a backhand stuff-in try. It goes wide. He picked off the pass from Vlad Gavrik from behind his own end line. Over towards the Delaware bench, it will be sent into the far side corner. Goes careening off the glass and will be settled down by DeCristofaro. Minute and a half into the third period. Up the right wing it goes, off the stick of Masters, taken by Kenny Garrett and flipped up into the corner once more, where Aaron Taylor will come out of his net to play the puck. Taylor doesn't take too many adventures out of his crease, And the one time that we have seen him come out of the blue paint, it almost resulted in an empty net goal. Here's Ruiz entering in. They will deem him offsides as Nikola Levesque was racing back. They will say not in time.
Racing back, he almost had it. One more stride, and Ruiz wouldn't have had to deal with the whistle.
So the faceoff will be right in front of Charlie Pence Sr. and his crew. Dunford and Ruiz in the dot. They will both be booted. It will be Bronner and Cutting coming together now, and Bronner will win it back over to the right wing, and Ruiz will send it in deep. Over towards Dunford at the far side midboards. Looping it around, intended for Tundle. It'll be cut off by Ruiz. Tundle forced back. Ruiz getting a stick on the puck. Now Tundle will pick it up and carry it ahead on the left wing with a little bit of speed. Sends it in behind Steve Brown. Cutting is there to retrieve. Listmayer lost his footing and almost took the net off with it. Now a setup in front goes wide off the stick of Dunford. Pence Jr. wraps it around roulette style to the near side midboards where Clark takes a step in. Dunford at the point. Chips it behind the end line once more. Tundle leaves it for Cutting. Back to the point. Pence Jr. wasn't there.
Aside from that errant exit pass, it's a really, really good start to this third period here for Delaware. Just a step quicker than Danbury right now, and it seems like a guy quicker, almost like they have an extra man on the ice. Danbury just so slow to picking up the puck.
Well, sustained zone time is going to be something of a point of focus for the Delaware Thunder. They've gotten their fair share of rushes and breakaways, but not too many shifts where they're able to pin the hat-tricks in their own end for sustained periods. Bouncing puck goes in front of Aaron Taylor, but will be steered aside. Now Gavrick settles it down. Wrist shot through traffic. That one's kicked out by Taylor. Bolin Porter was waiting for the redirection. Edwards behind the end line has a man on him. To the corner it goes. Anderson collides now with Masters. Excuse me, that's Cutting. Picked up now by Litke. Up the ice, Municello. Has Simonetta to his left. Municello stripped by Easton Oliver. Good defensive play there by Oliver. Oliver has looked very comfortable sliding into the defensive lineup.
Well, Zach, you mentioned it. It looks like he doesn't miss a beat. I thought he's had one of the better shifts overall as a defender on this Danbury team. I thought Steve Brown's been the best defenseman for this side. I think Easton Oliver's a close second.
As mentioned before, Oliver playing in his first game in a hat-trick uniform since January the 17th. 4 minutes gone by in the third period. Thunder hunting for the equalizer. Litke calling for it in the slot. That shot from the far side point will be sent out by Dylan Kelly. Kasich to Brown. Has two Thunder players in front of him. Flips it towards the blue line. Not out. Kept in by Young and McIntosh. McIntosh swipes it into the corner. Simonetta run into the boards by Listmayer. Now out to open space. Young tees up a shot blocked by the legs of Kasich. Morrissey ambles his way up the left wing. Doesn't really have an option. Enters in offsides as Carter Shinkarik had to reach back. Wasn't anticipating Morrissey to be held up at the blue line, and we get a stoppage of play 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the third.
And there you go again, just the miscommunication. Danbury not as clean with the puck, and it causes those offsides. You see how eager Carter Shinkarik was on the right wing to jump into the rush, but when Morrissey bobbles it a little bit, it forces Shinkarik to come in offside just too early, and a rough start to this third period for Shane Morrissey, Zach.
Masters looking for Tundle. It's off the end of his stick and into the corner.
It is a rough beginning of the period for Morrissey. He had the two passes, including the one that nearly was an icing. Both of them went off of his stick.
Out to the midboards it goes. Paddled in by Levesque. De Cristofaro will be the first to retrieve for Delaware. Thunder trying to escape. Levesque interrupting the communication lines for a moment. It hops up into the 200s. And we get a stoppage of play, 5:12 into the third. Levesque, good job by him to keep the puck in deep and force the offensive zone faceoff, and we'll get a full line change for the hat-tricks as they get fresh legs.
And let's see if they can do something with it, because, again, this has not been a good start to the period. We are over 5 minutes in. The second period didn't look the greatest either.
Face-off forced out by the Thunder. De Cristofaro, lead pass for Cutting, trying to get around Listmayer. He does. Cutting to the net. Glove save, Kelly. And Listmayer was trying to cue up a hip check, and Cutting breezed on past him.
That's exactly what was going on. Lismayer was looking for the hip check. He has to realize he's getting beaten to the outside. You have to pivot your hips. Stay with the forward, force him behind the goal line.
Yeah, you see Lismayer just kind of leaning a bit on his brand of hockey, and you kind of have to abandon it at that point. You want to make sure that you keep the attacker in front of you, and there you go, Taylor Cutting, who's an impact player in this game for this team, getting a good shot on goal, good chance there.
Edwards has it in his skates. Lead pass for Anderson, takes a long wrist shot that gets sent wide. Anderson on the left wing now, trying to get past Basie, spins away from him. Bolin Porter down low in front. Bolin Porter has Taylor out of position, stops short now in Gretzky's office, trying to set it up to the far side circle. It's broken up. Good stick work by Brian Dunford to force the hat-tricks along the boards. Now Cutting, racing ahead, is brought down from behind by Edwards. That will be a penalty going against number 17. And Colin Edwards will be called now for the hook.
Edwards isn't happy because he feels like Taylor Cutting held on to his stick, but the only reason why he could hold on to it is because Edwards put it into Cutting's midsection in the first place. So Delaware gets to go on to their third power play. They haven't found the back of the net yet with the man advantage. But, 13:49 left in regulation, down by 1, Jack. It's a big power play for Delaware.
Absolutely, and you see some success already for them. They're close, but they're just not quite there on the power play. If they can get some good shifts, good offensive zone time, generate some shots on goal, get bodies in front, keep everything simple, they're going to be successful.
Faceoff will be to the right of Dylan Kelly. It'll be Evgeny Demin. He's got Simonetta to his left, Paisano to his right. Municello and Penz Jr. will complete the power play. Penz Jr. with a shot ricocheting out in front. Bouncing puck goes into the near side corner.
2 minutes. Booking.
Shinkarik, Bronner, Gavrik, and Oliver, the penalty kill unit for the Danbury Hat-Tricks.
Great shot by Penz right off the draw. On the ice, you saw it take a couple deflections on in.
Delayed whistle now will be going against Danbury, I believe. The faceoff will be out into the neutral zone. They will say an intentional offsides against it.
Not too intentional. Intentional would take it all the way down. So an unintentional offsides, an accidental offside, a whoopsie, so to speak.
Is that the official term in the rule book, whoopsie?
I'm going to have to look it up. It might be next to fisticuffs.
Paisano races after the puck, and Paisano and Bolin Porter, two extremes of the size chart coming together over by the Hat-Tricks bench. Municello back pass for Charlie Penz. They'll play pitch and catch in the neutral zone, and Municello waits for some open space. Is forced back now by Johnny Ruiz. Calling for it and receiving is Demin on the left wing. Entering in with Municello, they will deem him offsides, and will do it again once more from in front of Billy McCreary and company.
Yeah, either Municello or Simonetta, who was on the far side of things, but Delaware, they're getting in their own way right now. They've already had 47 seconds elapse off of this power play, and you guys made the point earlier. They're getting their breakaways. They're not getting the sustained zone time.
Penz will quarterback it from his own end. Simonetta evades Phil Bronner. Halfway through this power play, just over 7 minutes gone by in the third period. Thunder need a goal to even up the score. We saw a couple of back-and-forth contests last weekend between these two squads. Delaware trying to keep things interesting once more against the Danbury Hat-Tricks. With the exception of the 6-2 win that Delaware had over the Danbury Hat-Tricks, every game has been decided by 2 goals or fewer. Demin with a chance from between the hash marks goes off the side of the net. 30 seconds remaining. Simonetta has Bormanis in the corner, finds him. Paisano setting the screen. Out to Demin. Thinks about a shot, now feeds to Cristofaro. Back over to Demin. Has a diving Bronner in front of him. Simonetta now at the near side circle. High slot to Cristofaro. Winding and firing. Kick save Kelly. Into the corner it goes. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Brown has the puck taken away from him by Bormanis. Feeds to Cristofaro. Long shot goes off of the legs of Paisano. 2 seconds in 1, that will do it for the end of the power play. Out of the box is Colin Edwards. He'll retrieve the puck. Shinkarik is lurking at the blue line. Edwards will charge ahead and allow his teammates to get a change. Morrissey joins the rush. Edwards sets it up for Morrissey. Shot just wide. Excellent pass by Edwards. Now once more retaining possession. Gavrik stripped. Off to the races is Cutting. Cutting in on Kelly. Cutting, looking to tie the game. He does! Taylor Cutting knots up the score. We're tied at 2.
Well, there you go. A misplay at the blue line for Vlad Gavrik, and Taylor Cutting makes no mistake. Second breakaway goal of the game for the Delaware Thunder, and it's Taylor Cutting eventually the same spot that the first goal was made for the Thunder in Brennan Young's breakaway goal. He picks the high blocker side and he beats Kelly, and just like that, 2-2 game.
Oh boy, 11:25 to go in regulation. Let's see if Danbury can get out of the funk that they've found themselves in now, really for the last 30 minutes of game time.
Entering in and scoring! Johnny Ruiz! Call and response, number 19 gives the lead back to Danbury.
So as I was saying, let's see how Danbury can get out of this funk. What a goal by Johnny Ruiz. He sends one off the crossbar earlier in this game. This time, he just that angle just a little bit. And I don't even think it hit the back of the net. It hit the top of the net.
Yeah, what a shot there for Johnny Ruiz. Such a quick wrister, and how about the quick response? We barely got finished with our sentences, and Johnny Ruiz able to respond there. And how about that dagger in the backs of Delaware? You think you tied it up, you got yourself in a good position, bam, you're back down by 1.
Johnny Ruiz saying, talk less, smile more. Here's Bolin Porter in on the right side. Looking to wire it down low for Levesque, broken up. Here's Ruiz going back to work. Well, that tie score lasted for all of 7 seconds before the Danbury Hat-Tricks were able to once more regain the lead. Always keeping it interesting between these two teams. It may be a battle of first and last in the Eastern Division, but there is never a dull moment. As there's a stuff and try on the near side post that just escapes the goal line. On the left wing, entering in is Dunford. Trying to skate past Garrett, sets it up in the slot. Municello shot and a blind save by Kelly. Kelly didn't know where the shot was coming from. He just thrust out his arm.
Yeah, all 3 defenders, Kelly included, didn't know where the puck was. Cruz Listmayer, it's right on the back of his heel, and the shot goes off. Unbelievable at how Kelly got his blocker or his right pad there to make that save.
It was his right pad, and the reason why Dylan Kelly makes this save as we have a whistle, he makes the save because of good positioning. He's tight up on the far post because that's where he thinks the puck is. But what does he do with the rest of his body? He keeps that right leg out just in case he's wrong. Cover as much net as possible. It goes off his leg pad. He doesn't realize he made a save until the puck's already gone.
Faceoff will be to the left of Dylan Kelly. 10:06 to go in regulation time. Hat-Tricks protecting what is now a 3-2 lead. McIntosh and Shinkarik in the dot. Shinkarik wins it back to Bolin Porter. Bolin Porter currently playing on the blue line alongside Steve Brown. Here's Shinkarik evading a defender. Shinkarik shot off the elbow of Taylor. Bolin Porter back to defense where he was last Saturday against Delaware.
And let's see how long he stays back there. Let's see when we see Vlad Gavrik back out on the ice.
Masters, far side. Bolin Porter throws a check on him, and that is the versatility of Bolin Porter. He is a very solid two-way player as he's able to get it out towards the blue line and out of the zone from his knees. Morrissey in the neutral zone. Stick work gets around a defender. Out towards Jordan Clark, who settles it down. Clark crosses to Charlie Penns, now up to Masters. To Young, has a goal already in the game. Goal on his backhand, swallowed up by Kelly, and he holds with 9:09 to go in the third period. That will bring us to the media timeout. And, well, things have gotten interesting here in Danbury Arena, guys. After a quick flurry of goals, Danbury still holding on to their lead with white knuckles.
Oh, white knuckles is right, and you mentioned Delaware keeping it interesting. Well, it certainly is, and you also mentioned, Casey, you also mentioned earlier in the game about how head coach Billy McCreary and how he preaches culture. Well, this is where something like that comes in. You can't take a game off. You have to go all the way out every night. Danbury's being tested right now, and it's a good test to have because especially as we get closer to the playoffs, they need to realize as a team they can't take their foot off the gas pedal.
And it's really interesting because you look at Carolina, the defending champs. they come in here, they're the best team by record, by points, by scoring. They come into Danbury Arena and get swept in 3 games. And it seemed like it was really Danbury who just controlled most of that series. And then these Delaware series are so tightly wound that you almost say, is this the same Danbury team that we were used to seeing 2 weekends ago? It doesn't feel that way.
And you look at the standings and you wonder, how in the world does Delaware only have 8 wins so far in the season? Entering in on the left side, Simonetta. Rolling past Municello. Sends it weakly ahead. Easton Oliver out on the defense with Vlad Gavrik. Here's Gavrik gliding ahead. Drop pass Anderson. Has some room in front of him. Anderson squares to the net. Shot off the knob of the stick of Taylor and up into the netting. 8:30 to go in the final frame.
Well, good to see Vlad Gavrik back out there after his turnover at the blue line led to the cutting breakaway goal. Nice to see the coach show faith in his player. Let him regain his confidence back out there.
Anderson and Bolin Porter back out on the left wing now with a little bit of line juggling with Mattias Kasich out there with him. Brown and Listmayer, the defensive pairing. Listmayer skipped a shift, now is back out there with Brown. Long pass intended for Cutting, but Cutting is racing ahead, and he'll beat the icing. Dunford has Tundle setting up in between the hash marks if they can find him, but Danbury will take the puck away. Anderson, stretch pass looking for Kasich, is through his wickets. Kasich going into the corner. Paisano will win the foot race, and we'll get an icing call against Danbury.
Not sure if Matty Kasich really minds the icing whistle there. Tony Paisano bearing down on you. And back in the Danbury zone, another big hit thrown by Steve Brown. On the receiving end of it was Brian Dunford. Those are just 2 solid bodies colliding, and Brown once again the last man standing.
Yeah, he's been an absolute vacuum tonight, guys, just laying guys out left and right.
Holding onto it is Basie, looking up the left wing, and that's intercepted by Kasich. Now turning around and rifling one off the glass is Cutting. Brown has Tundle in front of him. He'll hold onto the puck along the wall. Tundle trying to sneak his way in between the puck and Brown. McIntosh jostling with Shinkarik. Bolin Porter sends it out towards the blue line, cut off by Cutting. Squares to the net. His shot turned out by Kelly. Bolin Porter once more trying to escape. He sends it out towards the neutral zone, but can't connect with a friendly face, and it will be dumped back in by Delaware. Kelly will hold, and it will be an offensive zone draw for the Thunder, and each passing faceoff becomes all the more important for Delaware as they try to set up shop, trailing by 1.
Well, they'll have the offensive zone opportunity here, and again, Delaware has struggled to maintain possession in the zone, both their goals coming off of breakaways. An offensive zone opportunity like this, it gives them the chance to get it on goal.
McIntosh and Shinkarik, and the dot Shinkarik wins it back to Oliver. Oliver out on the defensive pairing with Kenny Garrett. Been a minute since Kenny Garrett's number was called as well on the ice for the Hat-Tricks. Shinkarik to Morrissey. Long shot save. Rebound out in front is steered aside by McIntosh. And now the other way. Here come the Thunder. Masters on his backhand. Forced down to the ice by Oliver. Goes hard into the boards. Comes up a bit lame. Here's Garrett. Crossing red line, blue line, entering in. Long wrist shot, gloved out of the air by Taylor, and that will force an offensive zone draw for the Hat-Tricks.
Kenny Garrett staring down Tony Paisano as Paisano didn't like Garrett taking the shot. Garrett with a bit of a chuckle. He'll skate back to the bench.
Well, at this point, honestly, I think the Hat-Tricks, even though you wouldn't want to necessarily drop the gloves to Tony Paisano, you'd like to get him off the ice to open up a bit of space in the attacking zone.
Wouldn't be bad. You mentioned how Paisano and Pens have taken up a lot of space. That's about 500 pounds worth of defensemen out there.
Ruiz has Levesque in front, looking for him, intercepted by Simonetta. Levesque takes the puck away along the boards. Ruiz loses his stick. Now will get his lumber back in his hands. 6:15 to go in the third period. Delaware trying to equalize the score once more. And a sarcastic wave of the glove for Dylan Kelly after the puck goes into the basket underneath his mask.
I love seeing goaltenders with personality. I can't get enough of that. The puck comes in from the red line. Dylan Kelly holds it. But, there's a photographer here. You might as well make it look a little pretty.
Well, I love that there's 6 minutes left in a tightly contested one-goal game, and he still has the wherewithal to keep things light.
And he could say his parents actually made the trip down from Michigan. They flew over yesterday.
Turnover in front there gets shanked up into the netting.
I got the chance to speak with them earlier, and now he could say, hey, Mom, Dad, remember that huge save I made with 6:11 to go in the third period?
Beautiful glove save.
It's a long drive from Petoskey here to Danbury.
Yes.
Is that one of those trips where you have to go through Canada?
I'm unsure. I don't know what part of Michigan Petoskey is in.
I'm not up on my Michigan geography. Not that good, at least.
If they're Michigan natives, perhaps they're closet Rumblebees fans.
Ooh, could be.
To Cristofaro in the neutral zone with 5:45 remaining in regulation time. Simonetto weakly dumps it in deep. Levesque with time along the wall. Sends it up to Anderson, who one-hands it ahead, but DeCristofaro cuts it off. Now Bolin Porter will tap it ahead to Levesque. Levesque looking for Bolin Porter, can't connect. Gavrick strips the puck away. Gavrick in the high slot, looking to the net. Glove saved by Taylor, and he holds. And it looks like you've got a map up here of Petoskey, Michigan.
Why wouldn't I?
That is as high as far north as you can go in mainland Michigan
It is,
without being a Yooper.
Yeah, exactly. It is the tip of the middle finger in the mitten. That's exactly where it is.
So
Boy,
that's a hike.
That's cold.
You must love your son. Here's Morrissey, high slot, winding and firing. It goes off a defensive stick and up into the netting. And we'll get another offensive zone draw for Danbury.
Right on Little Traverse Bay.
So that if it's northern Michigan, then yeah, that's Battle Creek territory.
It is.
Because southern Michigan belongs to Port Huron.
Well, obviously. Well, if they're Battle Creek fans, they're okay with me.
Shinkarik wins it back to Morrissey, winding and firing right into the padding of Taylor. And once more, we'll do it again. A couple quick whistles here as Morrissey pulling the trigger, trying to add to those SOG numbers.
And Morrissey, it's not in his wheelhouse, but the quick release, that's a quick wind and fire. But you don't normally see the left winger on a face-off lined up between the defensemen.
Well, it's a set play between him and Shinkarik, and the two of them obviously have long-standing chemistry with each other, and they've made an immediate impact since Morrissey's arrival to the Hat City. Under 5 minutes of play remaining in regulation time. Delaware trying to charge up the ice. They trail by 1. Here's Dunford on the right wing. Sends it out towards the middle of the ice. Turning around, shooting. Tundle blocked in front. Kelly out of his crease, diving on the puck. An awkward tumble onto the puck. Covers it with his legs.
Yeah, you don't usually cover the puck by crossing your legs and waiting for the whistle, but that's exactly what Dylan Kelly does there. And well, they don't ask how, they ask how many for Dylan Kelly. That is his 33rd save of the evening.
And the impressive thing about that play was the shot block by Carter Shinkarik there. We see how much he produces offensively. Look at him. He's the last line of defense, almost in the blue paint. Takes a shot block and then allows that angle to get cut off, and that's why Kelly goes around the back and makes the save with his legs.
Very acrobatic. It looks like he's doing Pilates down on the ice when he was just trying to get himself into the right contortionist position to cover the puck and get a whistle.
Oh, Kelly certainly has his flexibility. He's not Dominik Hasek with a spine made out of a slinky, but still, for a big guy, he can move.
Well, he does have his own mobility courses that he has. DK Mobility.
Check him out.
Here's Levesque turning around with the puck, setting it up for Bronner in front. His shot goes off of the heel of his stick, bouncing around in the blue paint. Taylor diving on it, swats it in behind the end line. Levesque keeps it alive, set up for Ruiz, fanned on the shot. Garrett now looking backdoor for Ruiz, pass hops over his stick. Penn's tying a man up behind the end line. Levesque trying to fight through his arms. Levesque retains possession. Kasich comes out off the change. Out to the blue line it goes. Garrett looking to the net, shooting one wide. 3:40 to go in regulation time. Pops out to the neutral zone. Garrett quickly up to Kasich, and back in come the Tricks. Anderson setting up in the slot. He wants it. Looking for Anderson in front. Coming in just a bit too close to the net. Couldn't get a clean shot off.
Kasich just a little too long on that pass for Anderson. Basie was right behind him, though. He would have been ready to lift Anderson's stick.
And you have to give Levesque a lot of credit. Really good shift for him, working against the two best defenders on Delaware and Pisano, as well as Charlie Pence.
Evgeny Demon is hunched over. He was gloving his mouth a bit. Might have taken a stick to the face that went unnoticed. 3 minutes to go. Here's Demon going to work on his backhand. Sends it towards the net. Shot save. Rebound. Another try. That one stopped by Kelly. Demon calling for it to Cristofaro at the near side point. They will instead go the short way. Here's Simonetta. Mark-Anthony Simonetta being run into the glass by Listmayer. Out to the point. Long shot. Redirected in front by the arm of Demon. Into the corner it goes. Demon colliding with Shinkarik. One-handing it ahead is Steve Brown, and now Steve Brown leads the charge up the ice. He'll dump it in and go off for a change after an extended shift. Long pass by the netminder Taylor, who is still in his crease for the time being. 2:20 to go. Gavrik from behind his own net will kill off some more precious seconds. Tundle will force him to make a move. Easton Oliver once more in the corner. Tick, tick, tick goes the clock as the Hat-Tricks are just playing keep away now behind their own end line, forcing Brian Dunford to race ahead. Now lifted up and gloved out of the air by Ruiz. Chips it ahead for himself. Past the 2-minute warning here in regulation time. Tundle, long saucer pass, looking for Cutting, finds him at the blue line. Taylor still in his net as Kelly and the Hat-Tricks still have possession. Here's Bronner along the midboards. Bronner skies it up into the air, looking for Levesque. Instead, it's pawed down by Pens, and Pens held on to that for a long time. Here's Cutting now entering in on the right side. Setting it up for Bronner. Bronner bats it back out to the neutral zone. Taylor still in his net.
He can't leave.
Hat-Tricks pinning the Thunder in their own end. A hard check along the Delaware bench by Mattias Kasich. Stymieing the puck. Taylor still in his cage. Now up the right wing. Cutting. Can't get across the blue line. Bolin Porter lifting his stick and escaping with the puck. Final 60 seconds of regulation time. Hat-Tricks leading 3-2. DeCristofaro trying to dump it in deep. Met at the blue line by Steve Brown. Kasich once more retains possession. Taylor still not out. Here's Pence. Over to DeCristofaro. The Thunder can't get it deep.
It all gets back to the possession. They've both their goals on breakaways. They can't get the puck into Danbury's zone.
DeCristofaro from his own end. Now Taylor coming over to the bench. DeCristofaro crosses the red line. Slides it to Demon on the right wing. Extra skater is on. It's Brennan Young. It goes up into the catching glove of Dylan Kelly, and he holds on to it with 30.7 ticks of the clock.
That's honestly what Delaware needs, is a face-off in the attacking zone here. Dump it in on Kelly, make him make a save with the glove, and then get the offensive zone face-off, because that was the first time they were able to get it in the zone over the last few minutes of running play, and that's why you saw Taylor just sitting in the blue paint, waving his arms at the bench, saying, hey, when can I come over? He wasn't able to come.
And as we get a timeout called here by Charlie Penn Sr. and the Delaware Thunder, boy, really deliberate play for the Delaware Thunder at their own blue line, playing pitch and catch. There was just no passing lanes up the ice. They were taking their sweet time. They lost about 30 seconds.
At least 30 seconds. And again, it's Danbury tightening things up, especially at the blue line. I'm surprised Delaware didn't try to go with a dump and chase, because at least then you get the puck down there. Danbury's defense, they haven't been as perhaps sure-handed as they usually are. Maybe a force a turnover, but instead they spend the last 2 minutes outside of Danbury's zone. They've got 31.7 left as they put an extra tick and a half on the clock, but 30 seconds left. It's tough. They still have the offensive zone face-off.
And a crucial offensive zone face-off as Evgeny Demon will lead the Delaware Thunder out onto the ice. He'll have Municello and Simonetta out on the forward lines. Paisano, Pens, and DeCristofaro will also be out onto the ice. Anderson, Gavrik at Levesque, Bronner, and Oliver, the five-man unit countering for Danbury. Face-off won by the Tricks and sent out into the neutral zone. Pens Jr. with his cage empty. Crosses to DeCristofaro, dumps it in, bouncing puck towards Dylan Kelly, makes no mistake, and holds on to it. And Corey Anderson is furious as the puck went off of the linesman and towards Dylan Kelly.
And so was Dylan Kelly. He was yelling at the linesman. It's a couple times he's gotten in the way of some pucks that have illy affected the Danbury Hat-Tricks.
To the left of Kelly is the face-off. Anderson wins it back. Delaware trying to get a shot off. Municello fanned on it. Lifted up, glove down at the blue line. Now Corey Anderson hands it to himself. Might have gotten away with it, playing it with a high stick. This one will be an offside as Anderson collides with Municello, and Municello wants a piece of number 27. Now Anderson will get tossed around a bit by Paisano. Oliver also tied up with DeCristofaro. Levesque coming together at center ice.
Paisano looking for a dance partner. I don't think he'll get one.
Charlie Penz is without one glove. The official will let him and Levesque jaw at each other a bit, but they will come together, and Charlie Penz, I would imagine, will be sent to the penalty box as he dropped the glove.
And it's just great discipline there for Nicola Levesque. Take away Charlie Penz from all the action and just say words to him. Say, you're not going to fight here in this situation. There's 10 seconds left in this game. There's no reason to drop the gloves here. Delaware just trying to fire things up.
They'll leave Charlie Penz out onto the ice.
Interesting.
I guess they'll say that his glove was lost incidentally, but nevertheless, final few seconds remaining in regulation time. They will deem it a hand pass against Delaware. 7.1 to go in regulation time. So they'll have some conversations as to where the faceoff will be following the hand pass, and it will be right dead center at center ice, right on the crest of the rabbit. Anderson and Demon coming together. 6 men out for the Thunder, 5 men for the Hat-Tricks. Face-off, swipe down towards the empty net. Bingo! Nicola Levesque with 4.8 seconds to go. Levesque puts the icing on the cake. It'll be a 4-2 dub for the Hat-Tricks.
Well, that's one way to get out of fighting. Paisano wanted a word with Levesque, and Levesque just simply sent it down the ice, just out of the reach of Charlie Penz Jr. That's a nice way to pack the stats a little bit.
And pack the stats?
Yeah, something like that.
Nicola Levesque did earn his 100th career professional point last weekend on Saturday against the Delaware Thunder, and there he is getting point number 101 at the empty net goal, the first home empty net goal in Danbury Hat-Tricks history. Time ticking down, and that'll do it. The Danbury Hat-Tricks take a 4-2 victory from the Delaware Thunder. And Basie threw a gloved punch over at Shane Morrissey as the two passed by each other, and Paisano will have a word with Levesque over by the tunnel. And the pleasantries are being exchanged, and they will almost assuredly carry over until tomorrow as the season series between the Delaware Thunder and the Danbury Hat-Tricks concludes, and well, you have a feeling that you are in for a marquee matchup tomorrow night. Fight night at Danbury Arena could very well be on the menu.
Ooh. Today's theme was about love. I don't think that's going to turn over into tomorrow. The blood is boiling between these two sides, and these two coaches, we saw them yelling at each other. But overall, this is not as Dylan Kelly gets to hoist the barrel.
Dylan Kelly hoists the barrel, and you mentioned it, Jack, and that two houses warring with each other like the Capulets and Montagues here on Valentine's night.
You had to, right?
Absolutely. Look, one of the greatest love stories ever told here on February the 14th.
You know, boys, we almost got through an entire broadcast without a Shakespeare reference.
Almost.
Almost got there.
And this is the second consecutive home game in which Dylan Kelly is the hoister of the barrel. Got to hoist it on a Saturday win against the Carolina Thunderbirds. The first repeat barrel hoister in Danbury Hat-Tricks history.
Yes, I mean, he's earned it. And you look at this game as a whole, guys, it's not one where Danbury, circles on their calendar by any means. They didn't play their best hockey, but they got the job done when they needed to. You look at those last 2-3 minutes of that third period, they were absolutely outstanding in the neutral zone in their own blue line. They kept the puck out of the attacking zone. They made Delaware make mistakes, and they made them play off their back feet a little bit, off their heels, and it allowed for all this extra time without an extra attacker. And then you just see the extracurriculars occur. Danbury disciplined the whole way through, not necessarily dropping their gloves. Obviously, you have the fight at the second period with Colin Edwards and Charlie Penz Jr., but other than that, it was a hockey game in which the Hat-Tricks did well and that they got the job done.
Shane Morrissey gets the third star of the game with 2 points, had a goal and an assist. Dylan Kelly will get the second star honor, stopped 34 of 36 shots.
Those are his parents he just tossed the puck to.
Nice.
That's awesome. And number 1 star, Johnny Ruiz. With the GWG in this one, scored 7 seconds after Delaware's goal and tosses it to someone with a Johnny Ruiz jersey on their back in the stands. So everyone hunting for a special fan in the audience. And that will just about do it here from Danbury Arena. What a contest this was. A 4-2 victory for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, their 6th consecutive win. For the Delaware Thunder, their 10th consecutive loss. Tomorrow night at Danbury Arena, you can catch the action. Go to danburyhattricks.com/tickets for your seats. And if you can't make it, join us right here on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel for what is most assuredly going to be an intense final matchup between these two division rivals.
Intense. No love lost, certainly, and especially as this game went on, you saw that animosity building. You saw it building further. Jack, I think you're absolutely right. Tomorrow, it's going to be, well, Casey, to borrow your phrase, interesting. It's going to be interesting tomorrow.
Well, that'll just about do it here from the Danbury Arena broadcast booth. We want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight, joining us here on your Valentine's Day, and of course we want to thank everyone here at Danbury Arena who makes a Hat-Tricks game possible. For all of us here at Danbury Arena and for my broadcast partners Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara, happy Valentine's Day. Have a good night.